I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. Give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I am in the middle of the news. That's right. We have a pre-show that comes into the show every day and tracks the basic news and anything we can gather at the source and bring to you. And that's what we do. I'm David Sponheim of America's Third Party, and I am here for Freedom Friday. Welcome. The show goes on for at least an hour before we get here and record it. So a lot of things go on. I interact with the chat room and we get to know what's feeling the pulse of America. And that's perhaps one of the best aspects of this show. The ability to listen to people and to react to you, all of you. The fact that I have growing numbers of viewers around the world excites me. But remember, I'm doing this blind. We don't have the metrics that the major networks have, the Nielsen ratings and polls. We don't have any of the metrics, but we know that the reach is huge worldwide with the UHF broadcasts that are blasting out across the globe. And people still hope for a third party, and I do too. I haven't given up hope. I'm in this for the long haul, and I made that decision over 40 years ago. I realized that we needed a third party over 40 years ago. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today talking to you nightly. The two parties are failing. The Democrats are proving to be just as corrupt as the Republicans. Biden looks like he had some real weird, shady dealings with Ukraine. And now it seems like Donald Trump has some shady dealings as well, which may lead to his impeachment. Even Donald Trump was shocked that this would lead to his impeachment. Hey, this is our Cool Rock online community where people watch our show for free. It's fun, it's free, and it's available. We have both chats lined up in the Cool Rock show, so you can track both chats and check out all kinds of cool buttons. And there's no cookie trafficking going on. We're not grabbing your private information. So unlike Facebook and Google, Cool Rock is just a place to hang out, and it's a gateway to the internet. The best button, in my opinion, is this one right over here. I showed people this earlier. Web Oasis, a great link that I added to the Cool Rock site. It takes you all over the internet and gives you every bit of information you'd ever need to gather more knowledge and even learn tutorials. This button right here down at the bottom has free tutorials right here. You can take that and learn all kinds of tutorials. Tutorial.com. It's downloading on my VPN, so I'm not going to show it to you. But anyway, Web Oasis is that button on the right. And, hey, here's a side note. Switzerland held a funeral for glacier loss to climate change. So as many people are worried about climate change, and I'm not that concerned about climate change because I know the secret to solving the problems of climate change, and it's not taxing you people. No one needs to be taxed to fix the problems of climate change. And I'll explain that in just a second. Let me get back to the room. Yeah, I understand we've got some constant censorship and attacks. We monitor that nightly. I'm still doing the show despite all of the attacks. Did I see Trump's response to the impeachment threat? Yeah. He thinks he's draining the swamp. There's no explanation as to why Donald Trump has 6 billionaires in his administration. But here he is.
Investigating his son's company.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine to investigate corruption, the Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
Very good ad for Donald Trump, yeah. Bottom line is, though, he got his fingers caught in the cooking jar, and Donald Trump did the same thing Biden did, which he said he's investigating Biden on, manipulating Ukraine's government to get personal gain, dirt on Biden. So no matter how Trump frames it, he still did the same damn thing if indeed Biden did that. Kurt Volker, Trump's envoy for Ukraine, has resigned. And sources say this is, he just flat out resigned. He stepped out today. He said Kurt Volker, he got caught in the middle of the pressure campaign by President Trump and his lawyer, Giuliani, to find damaging information about the Democrats. He abruptly resigns his post on Friday. He can't handle the heat. So when a guy who's been a supporter of Donald Trump flat out resigns and just walks, is it a sign that something's not right? Trump morphed his story a couple times, and it looks more and more like Trump is just doing that. His talking points are just doing that to make himself look good. This is exactly what he did when he said that, oh, it's all a Russian hoax, when a mountain of evidence shows that Donald Trump not only knew that the Russians were rigging the election, but he didn't report it to the FBI. Now, he's morphed into every single statement saying, oh, it's all a lie. Well, you can't keep denying that it's a lie when there's a mountain of evidence that you're lying. Now, Donald Trump is going to have to answer to the music of a very powerful House, which is now seemingly getting their ducks in line and are proceeding with impeachment. Once that moves forward, we'll see more up close and personal. Okay. Yeah, please don't post links to people who are trolling our show. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story about your Ukrainian girlfriend in Vegas. And if you are buffering, I want everyone to know that I'm running a parallel show at Periscope. You can get the show every single night by going to my Twitter account. This is it. That's not it. That's a file. There it is. That's the Periscope link, but for some reason it's not clicking through as a link. How weird. Let's try this again. Yeah, there you go. Click the Periscope link and then open up Tiny Chat or Pop-Out Chat and you'll be fine. Page says you're down. Okay. We are getting censored, no question about it. But the more people try to censor us, the more likely we're doing everything we can to stop it. Now, we've had a couple of news stories that came up recently. Aside from Switzerland holding a funeral for the glacier loss to climate change, we talked about in the pre-show, a young lady had her dreadlocks cut off in her classroom.
To my shoulder each day. When I held it in, I felt like a weight was being added to my shoulder each day that I held it in.
But Wednesday, Amari Allen finally decided to tell her story. She says she was on the playground at Emmanuel Christian School in Springfield when she says 3 white students held her against her will and cut her dreadlocks.
They put my hands over my back, put the hand over my mouth, and so they started to cut my hair.
All the while, the 12-year-old says the boys called her hair ugly and nappy. Amari.
And you know, she's so nice. She's actually kind of forgives them, because she says bullies are usually people that are abused in their life. Isn't that amazing? I mean, what an amazing young 12-year-old to say that. Very sad that she got her dreadlocks cut off. It is a civil rights violation, yeah. And I would urge the school to act with quick measure to stop those 3 white boys. Okay? No, I don't think we should give anybody reparations, but she does probably have a civil case, because those dreadlocks are expensive. You know how much they are to make? They're not cheap. And it's hard to grow out hair like that, you know? Okay. Hopefully the show's running over there at iBlog. Steve-O's trying to broadcast. Steve-O's trying to come in. I don't know, haven't seen you in a while, Steve-O. We have a separate show running at iVlog that people can use cameras to come in and interact. If you want to debate me live, you can certainly go in there at iVlog. And again, you can catch all these things at our website, coolrock.com. Yeah, that's where I have everything pasted, and you can just check that out. It says not secure, but we don't mine your cookies. It's totally private. Nothing on there grabs your cookies. You can keep your cookies. Yeah, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that chat, because it has a safer chat. It has the pop-out chat in there. So try it, see what you like. Once you get into both rooms, dial in, you'll prefer it. All right. Yeah, we had a couple of bizarre stories earlier. Okay, there's a woman that's been receiving death threats. Her name is Jess Phillips. She's frightened. Let's take a look at this story. Excuse me while I adjust my backgrounds. There's a problem with having too many screens open. Okay. Jess Phillips frightened after receiving death threats, which warned her to be very afraid. Now, yeah. Labor MP Jess Phillips in Birmingham Gardley has said she feels frightened after receiving death threats. I get 1,000 death threats. I've had over 1,000 death threats. There's nothing to be that frightened about. But you should take precaution and definitely have a bodyguard and advanced systems, security systems, and redundant backup servers like I do. Yeah. I make sure I have everything in place, and I can certainly back it up with necessary force if somebody were to attack me, but it does require you to be vigilant. You know, remember, a criminal can get lucky a couple times and hurt somebody. You have to remain constantly vigilant. No camera or mic is coming on. I'm seeing myself on the screen, so what's going on my end? Oh, on your end, you don't have a camera or mic? Okay. Hey, Say When, welcome. We got 2 chat rooms I'm talking to. I'm one of the best at what I do, I can tell you that. I studied weaponry, if you will. My father was a sharpshooter in World War II, and he taught me everything I know. But I can tell you, I'm not here to brag, you know. I didn't want to go out on the gun range and show everybody how great I was, because then they would know how great I was. So I'm unlike various people who become famous for their shooting ability. I chose not to be. That's also true about my swimming. When I was a kid, I was one of the fastest swimmers I'd ever seen. I took on a couple lifeguards and I beat them in a 50, or I'd say 100-foot pool. Yeah, so I was a really good swimmer too. Still am. Yeah, I'm thinking I might want to get into the Olympics some year. I don't think age should really affect an Olympic performance. If it's a short swim, I should easily compete with the top people. I don't recommend being locked and loaded at any time. No. You have to realize I live in a state in Washington where you have to keep your gun in a lockbox. That doesn't mean it can't be opened with a push of a button, because they've got brand new lockboxes that measure your fingerprint and open it right away. But yeah, there's certain laws requiring you to keep your gun and your clips separate. That's something, if you travel in states like New Jersey and Massachusetts, I don't even know if you can legally travel through Massachusetts carrying a gun, or New Jersey. Cold Tears, this is an appropriate dialogue. We're not here to talk about sex, okay? I know you haven't had any for a while, so I'm going to ask you to straighten out your act. You had, 5 accounts already? Hey, last night we brought up a very disturbing picture about something that occurred on Matt Groening's Simpsons show. We talked about the Simpsons show foreshadowing events. Look at this. Isn't this weird? Yeah, it's like everything about this story indicates the Simpsons know what's going to happen in advance, 20 years in advance. Look at how she had a picture taken. Donald Trump wasn't supposed to be at that climate summit. He purposely attended just to sit there and smile. Maybe make a cameo for the elitists that own him. But whoever is making these calls, foreshadowing the future, must have Matt Groening by the short hairs. Turns out that Matt Groening allegedly was at Orgy Island with Jeffrey Epstein when Virginia Roberts Giuffre was forced to rub his feet. And she claimed that his feet looked like yellow stubs or whatever. Little gross yellow. It was just, she said it was so gross she nearly vomited. Thanks. Well, I'm glad I can talk about politics from a different perspective. But this type of foreshadowing indicates an Illuminati control over our future. This is too coincidental, and it's happened time and time before, even with 9/11. So there's something up here. If you're one of those people that believe that 9/11 was an inside job, yeah, that's right. Yellow fungus is what she said. That Matt Groening had yellow fungus growing on his foot. She said it was so gross she nearly vomited. Yeah, well, if you're one of those people that's worried about the whole tragedy of our country being lied to for nearly 20 years, 18 years of lies, no investigation into the 9/11 Commission report and how they refused to talk about demolition being the cause, and it clearly is a demolition, without a doubt. Come back on Tuesday. We've got a Tuesday show called Truth or Tuesday. Truth Tuesday, you can come in and talk about 9/11 anytime, but we can just touch on it. I do believe it was an inside job and a cover-up, and I'm more than willing to talk about it. It's not difficult to keep your feet healthy. Yeah, there's a new product in the market. It's called the pet egg, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's not the pet egg. It's actually a couple of eggs that they've got. It's an electric foot file, not just a... Yeah. It has a wheel on it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. No, it's not the pet egg. It's a powerful wheel that removes calluses and things. Anyway, it's a grinding disc on a spindle. And I don't have a copy of it here, but man, does it work. And you can really take care of your feet. If only Matt Groening had known about that, he wouldn't have embarrassed himself with Virginia Roberts Giuffre, the 15-year-old who allegedly was raped at Orgy Island. It's funny how we're not talking about that anymore, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, you'll see it. It's a grinding wheel on a little disc with a battery. It's really awesome. You're talking about the pork industry, Sammy? Pterodactyl toes. Ooh, that's a good one, Reptoid. Do the fungus. Doot, 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 doot. Hey, there's a fungus among us. Doot, 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 doot. Yeah, do the fungus. Doot, 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 doot. Yeah, Matt Groening should have gone to the doctor instead of Orgy Island. Yeah, you're right. He should send an apology letter to Virginia Giuffre Roberts. Well, I massage feet. I'm not a person who would put a foot in my mouth. I'm not into a kinky fetish thing. Yeah. Yeah, Trump had a good run. Yeah. Yeah, he did. It's too bad that he's facing impeachment. Yeah, you cheat long enough, you're going to get your fingers caught in the cookie jar. It happened, okay? He tried to pull the same thing that Joe Biden did, to hold back aid to a country, allegedly, over dirt on Biden, his opponent, using U.S. government funds, without William Barr putting out an order ahead of time. That's the clincher. William Barr did not direct them to do this. The Attorney General has to make this move, and he didn't. Trump was just on the phone, and some CIA agent was in the other room listening in to this diplomatic phone call with a foreign dignitary, which does come into the purview of the CIA operation because they're involved in all overseas communications. I had to research this last night. I thought that CIA could only do foreign activities, but apparently the president was engaged in foreign activities, so they had every right to listen in. And there's a reason why the CIA was sitting right next to him and Trump thinks he was being spied on. Because Trump has a private cell phone, maybe more than one, burner phones, that he makes phone calls to people like Vladimir Putin. So the CIA and the NSA are especially concerned about national security leaks, as they should be. So if Trump doesn't like the fact that he's been listened to by somebody, oh gee, that's too bad. Because their job is to make sure that he's doing the right job, not cheating. So I think it's going to go down to an impeachment process, and I think the Democrats are gearing up for it. I've been predicting all of this for years, and as you know, I was kind of wondering last week, I was going, come on, Pelosi, what's your problem? Your face is all stitched up. Do something. So I'm glad something's happening. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how Giuliani can defend himself. You know, Giuliani's guilty in so many ways. He never gave any of those first responders at 9/11 an air mask. Seriously. What kind of a mayor doesn't suggest everybody wearing an air mask when a massive plume of smoke comes pouring out of the Trade Center buildings? Well, that's Giuliani. Here he is defending Trump and running an attack on Biden.
Nancy has a very, should impeach him. They should impeach Chris Murphy. She has a very interesting view of quid
I don't know
pro
what
quo.
the crime. I don't know what the crime. I don't even think she pronounced it correctly, but I don't know what the crime is.
Hey,
but
Rudy,
the reality is that Joe Biden actually may have very well committed something called crimes. $1.5 billion from China to your son when you're negotiating with China, and you're failing in your negotiations.
Never should have happened. Never should have happened.
What do you mean never should have happened? It's outrageous. It's an outrageous sale of the vice presidency.
Yeah, it was an
China paid for Joe Biden's office. China didn't invest in a drug-challenged son with $1.5 billion. They bought the vice president of the United States. And even if you're a Democrat, you should be shocked by that.
No.
You know, the Republicans have a really good argument here. And I tend to agree with it in many ways, but why did Donald Trump commit the same crime? That's the answer to your question. Yeah. So now, having also put all the whistleblower data, moving it to a private server secretly and dumping it out of the main server was another technique only a guilty person would do. So Trump has a lot of explaining to do why he would move it to a nationally secure server and then hold it back from review by Adam Schiff. So all of that is another question that alludes to guilt and the possibility that he did something very, very bad. So Donald Trump can't keep committing acts, violating his power, and not get his fingers caught in the cookie jar. It's pretty obvious that that's what's going on. You fish with a cane pole? That's impossible. Yeah, why don't you get a modern fishing pole? What's your problem? Donald Trump can make his own truths, you're right. He's very good. Like he said, oh, I'll gladly show you all my tax returns for 10 years, no problem. And then he's created his own truth that he can't in some way show his tax returns. He said it's not allowed when the IRS insists that it's completely legal for you to show your tax returns. If you're being audited, you can show it to anybody. But no, I can't show you my tax returns. So that's an error. That's basically an error of judgment on Trump's part, unless those tax returns really do indict him in many ways. Russian launderers paying for his money, all the money he made. Maybe that's what he's trying to avoid. You're not allowed to post Mark's video on our show. Yeah, we don't take any other show's video link to our show. Yeah, this isn't a place that I want you to promote Mark at. It's time for your bong hit. Oh, good. Well, it's about time for me to spray my face with fruit enzyme. There we go. My Fountain of Youth bottle here. So, Friday night, you guys worked a whole week. Some of you didn't work at all. Some of you are wondering how you're going to pay your rent. I guess it all works out in the end, doesn't it? Mark sent you an email? Oh, well, if you get any emails soliciting you to dox or attack the show, please send it to americasthirdparty@gmail.com. Just forward it on there, okay? Because I'm getting a lot of hearsay about Mark that I can't confirm yet. Wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I heard that the guy over at Twitch does that too. Hey, Insane Canadian had 324 attempts to get into our show. Look at how hard Mark is censoring us. He had to hit his thing. 29 minutes it took him. 324 tries to get into the show. No, 5 more years of Donald Trump, no. Donald Trump won't be able to really run for office in 2020. He's going to be charged with crimes. You can't get away with working with the Russians to rig the election, not telling the FBI about that, and then constantly trying to fire everybody that was investigating you, James Comey, Robert Mueller. According to Dan McGahn, his assistant, he tried to fire Mueller, 4 times? And then he tried to hold back Dan McGahn from testifying, and to this day, Dan McGahn hasn't been able to testify. He's using every means possible to obstruct justice. Well, Pence, something happened last week that I find disturbing because Pence, thank you, Guest38. Pence has a number of emails he's never presented of when he was the governor of Indiana. He had a lot of his emails on a private server at AOL. There are millions of people trying to get in here. Sir farts a lot. You're right. Pence had all his emails, or at least half of them, were stored at AOL. Well, isn't it convenient? Last week, AOL decided they closed down completely and they shut their site down. You can't get any of your emails, nothing. So all those emails are gone now. We'd have to go ahead and open up his email file if he had a backup. Unclaimed money, missingmoney.com. I don't need to worry about that. No. My mother told me that we had a lot of money in a foreign country a long time ago, but I never could find it. Yeah. So this missing money, yeah, I think my grandmother invested in Bolivia and there was a revolution there, and she lost all her money down there. That was a long time ago. Yeah, so if you continue searching for missing money in these states and some provinces of Canada, you can definitely get information at missingmoney.com. Okay, thanks for sharing. You got a new flavor of ice cream? Is it that Ben & Jerry flavor you guys have been talking about? Oh, it is. Look at that. All natural, Vermont's finest. Would you look at that? In peaches and cream. You'll feel you're privileged eating this vanilla ice cream without a hint of chocolate. Okay, is that a racial slur or something? I don't know. Peaches and cream. You know, I've gone, 30 minutes and I haven't mentioned one thing about Greta. Isn't that amazing? Have we almost gotten Greta out of our mind? It seems like we have. We've got Greta off our mind. That little girl really got a lot of people pissed off. Showing no respect for her elders, thinking we're all to blame for the pollution that she thinks is happening. She failed to mention that her family were all eugenicists dating back hundreds of years. At least 150 years. Eugenicists, yeah, they all want to eliminate, depopulate the planet. She's been fighting windmill production of all things because they kind of clutter the landscape. We don't want windmills. She's doing everything she can to support the global initiatives like the climate summit. And this is not good because those plans of the global summit involve taxing all of us. She doesn't care about that. She's just spinning her wheels, talking about things as if she's, the queen goddess of whatever. And she's so dark. It's almost like she could be maybe a hard rock metal artist. Check this out.
My message is that we will be watching you.
This is all wrong.
This is all wrong. Yeah. How dare you? She's just a puppet of the New World Order. Yeah, at least we're on the same page. Thanks. A lot of you know that now. Yeah, in fact, she's close friends with George Soros. He funded the trip. She's not exactly on a low budget. She had a $3 million yacht she traveled over on. Her family's actors. They're all actors, and she's an actor too. We exposed her last night in terms of her acting. She can only speak with a script in front of her. She can't really speak impromptu on the subject of climate change. It's kind of funny. Remember this girl at the Rio Summit in 1992? I don't remember her, but let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Setti, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways.
Okay, well, I have to only keep that at 23 seconds or they'll monetize it. Believe it or not. Last night I had a prank call on our show. Somebody sent me a prank call and I played like 2 minutes of it. Oh, sure enough, YouTube sent me a statement. I had to get rid of the prank call. I had to mute it. Yeah. Greta doesn't carry the message of unity. She carries a divisive message. She's hating on various ages and groups of categories of people. She blames others for the problems that she herself are part of. And it turns out her trip cost way more greenhouse gas because she had to travel with an entire entourage of people. 6 people had to fly on jets. And like I said, her boat wasn't exactly a neutral, carbon neutral. It was made with fiberglass, and fiberglass is extremely hazardous to the environment. So I'm tired of hypocrites accusing other people of being real bad people. Now, we're now seeing a series of governors who desperately need taxes from cigarette revenue. Jay Inslee, my governor in Washington, is now putting a ban on flavored vaping products amid growing health concerns. There are no major growing health concerns. The reality is cigarettes are way more deadly than vaporizers of any kind. Jay Inslee is falling in line with all the other New World Order puppet leftist governors who just don't have enough revenue from taxes, from cigarettes. They are literally leveraged. Michigan owes $7 billion in back money that should have come from cigarette taxes. So that's why they're doing it. Nicotine is definitely a drug, yeah. And it's very addictive. Cigarettes have 50 chemicals in them, whereas vaporizers, even these fruity ones, have only 6. Why would you worry about 6 chemicals when you're smoking 50 chemicals? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they say Hillary's going to run again, Sammy. Hillary Clinton very likely has some sort of a body double out there. I say it's a clone, because they've been cloning for 20 years past Dolly. Remember Dolly the sheep that was cloned? You can imagine they've got clones of people now. Well, anyway, there's a woman who definitely looks almost identical to Hillary Clinton. And she made an appearance in 2016, right after Hillary Clinton collapsed in front of our eyes. Yeah. And there's significant differences between their faces, but here's like a little photographic review of the two, up close and personal. Yeah, look at that. Almost the same handprint, very similar hairdos, but clearly a different person. So it's very likely her clone's going to run in her steed. Yeah. All right. Louisa Newberry. This woman is a person who's pretty well connected, who seems to be one of Greta Thunberg's handlers. Patriot Watchdog has a story about her, this woman. Official escort for the 16-year-old global warming expert Greta Thunberg is George Soros's plant. Wow, look at that. Yep. The 16-year-old is an expert, we are told. Yeah. She says, you're not trying hard enough. She wants us to travel by boats to and from Europe. Yeah. But her handler is working for George Soros. This woman who stands behind her in every meeting. Lisa Marie Neubauer is a 23-year-old German climate protection activist. In Germany, she's one of the main organizers for the school strike for climate movement, inspired by Greta. And she supports the implementation of Agenda 2030 in Germany and a climate policy that is compatible with the Paris Agreement. That's where the money from you comes in. These people, these global elitists, want to take your money. You want to hear something really weird? We don't know why this is happening. We don't know why endless sprays of chemicals are being dumped in the sky. We don't even know what these little things are flying around either. They're little like dots or orbs. There are a lot of things we don't understand. Yet the government refuses to discuss this. And we've been seeing the signs of this complete chemtrails in every area. We saw a lot of them recently over the skies of Florida. And we saw a ton of them over California recently. And we know that these chemtrails are out there. And yet the government would like us to believe that you're a whack job for thinking that. You're somehow a weirdo for thinking that. But when we can see it with our own eyes, we know these aren't condensation patterns from jets and that they're literally poisoning the atmosphere. The irony is the people that are trying to tax us with climate change legislation like carbon point legislation and cap and trade, they're perhaps the same people that are dumping those chemicals in the skies above us. That's what's so weird. And look at these dots. How strange. No one really knows what these things are. They're like floating orbs that are seen with chemtrails quite frequently. And again, our government's doing nothing to find out answers to these big questions. Yeah, what are these things? I don't know what they are, but they're seemingly everywhere. They're like flying orbs around the chemicals. It's like they're doing something to interact with the chemicals. But they're creating global climate change. That's my argument. And it's systemic. The corruption runs all the way to the top of the World Bank. The highest levels of owners of the big plan, the New World Order, are pushing this Agenda 2030. Which was Agenda 21. It was just rewrapped into Agenda 2030. So if you're aware of this and are certainly concerned about a new world order, as I am, you're going to stand up to the Democrats and the Republicans. We're building an independent centrist movement in America, and we're doing it every night. Whether you like it or not, I'm doing it because I have to do it. There's no other way out. We can't get accountability from these people because they're bought off. And they don't in any way indicate that they're going to get rid of their corruption. We saw a massive cover-up over the Jeffrey Epstein story a couple weeks ago. I did a video on 153news.net that's getting a lot of views called Jeffrey Epstein is Alive. And I showed proof that Jeffrey Epstein was seen over the St. James Island 20 days after he allegedly died. So if you want to check out that video, I'll give you the link. My third-party video, I've got 4 videos, 2 of which are about collusion, and one's a banned video. Here's my 153 third-party site. This one's had 1,571 views so far. Epstein is Alive. We've had about 4,500 views on the infamous banned video that was completely pulled off YouTube, but I've nearly got 4,500 views. YouTube only had 3 views in 2 years, and they banned it. So I'm clearly getting censored on YouTube, whereas 153 News, they've got lots of people watching these things. Total Collusion 1 and 2 are down there. So if you want to check out my links, here's the link to the central location. Yeah, these are videos that I literally couldn't put on YouTube where they'd cut it down. They'd knock it down. So I'm using that as a backup, thankfully, that they exist, and they let me do an upload. But I'm not trying to misuse their space. I just want them to know that we're on it. This country is trying desperately to correct the corruption problem. And many of you are coming from different sides of the political spectrum. Maybe you're a Republican who still supports Trump, kind of, but you know in your heart he's not really 100% honest. And you're beginning to wonder if he's really stopping the deep state because he hasn't fired anybody. Or maybe you're a Democrat who realizes that the systemic corruption in the Democratic Party all these years is just preventing them from actually doing anything. And they're never going to cut the budget because these two parties are both linked to getting reelected by the same corporate donors that get money from your tax dollars. They are sucking off of the corporate teat. And these corporations like Lockheed Martin, they give about $6,000 to about 60% of our public officials every year. They make donations. For that $6,000 per public official, Lockheed Martin gets $30 billion in contracts every year. That's like a net cost of $2 million to get $30 billion in return. That's the kind of corruption that's going on in the two-party system right now. It's happening right under our nose, and that's why our government is running out of money. Today's stock market closed at the end of the week with minus 70 points. So it's not an up week per se, especially after all the discussion of Trump and Biden being both corrupt. I see valid arguments from both Trump and the Democrats. I do. I think Biden really did get his fingers caught in the cookie jar there, and I think the Republicans are calling him on it. But I don't think that Trump called him, the Ukrainian president, with the proper paperwork. William Barr didn't file any complaint. There was no paperwork in place. There wasn't an action sanctioned by our government. It was a private call from Donald Trump. And according to the whistleblowers, it was definitely involving a breach of national security, a private use of our government dollars to get dirt on his opponent. That's illegal, and it's definitely an impeachable offense. I also think Biden might have been guilty when he made that bold move and threatened $1 billion if that prosecutor wasn't fired. This isn't rocket science, folks. This is pretty simple corruption right in our face. I have a tactical machete, yes. I have everything. I mean, I even have my dad's combat weapon. I could show it to you. Do you want to see a weapon that'll blow your mind? Yeah. Yeah, let me go get it. Hang on. I had a weapons expert investigate this and look at it, and he said it's definitely from World War II. My dad had this in the Philippines. He carried it with him at every single turn for 3 years. My dad served 3 years in the Philippines. fighting the Japanese. And the unique thing about this knife, they said, wow, let's take a look. And they pulled it out, and they looked at it. And you'll notice that the blade has been whittled down nearly a half an inch. That's how much action my father had on this knife. And he used this knife in hand-to-hand combat. He fought for his life against dangerous enemies that were out to kill our soldiers. But that's one hell of a knife, I'll tell you that. I've never sharpened it. It's still sharpened from the day that my dad left the World War II and came home. Yeah. Yeah, Mitt Romney's tied to Joe and Hunter Biden through the Ukrainian scam, along with a bunch of Republican neocons. Good point, Guest 47. Thank you. No, my father had a lot of physical hand-to-hand combat where he took people's lives dealing with just survival. I'm not proud of the fact that my dad killed over 100 men, but he lived long enough to give birth to me, so I'm proud that he actually made it through that time. Otherwise, I would be here talking to you every night. Yeah, well, that was one hell of a knife. Those guys looked at it and said, I've never seen anything worn down that hard. That was like heavily sharpened. And for 3 years, my dad gave his life for this country. And he saw a lot of his buddies die right around him. He slept among dead bodies with maggots crawling out of them just to survive. So there's all kinds of horrible things that my father could have brought to the table and told me about, but he was such a private man that he chose not to. And he wanted me to be dedicated to nonviolence. And that's what I've done throughout my life. I don't believe that violence is going to solve the world's problems. I don't believe that more war is going to somehow eradicate war. Whereas people like Henry Kissinger believe that. They believe that there should be more war, low-intensity conflict, he called it back in the 70s. And we've seen this time and time again. Just last week, Donald Trump used UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, to kill 30 innocent peanut farmers in Afghanistan. Did you hear about that in the news? No. The news didn't even bother covering the fact that 30 people, innocent people, died because of Donald Trump's decision. And when he first became president, he was a fool for turning down military intelligence who said, don't bother these people, we don't know if they're really terrorists or not. He killed 31 people 8 days into his presidency. Even though his military advisors said they weren't necessarily terrorists, he killed 31 innocent people, one of which was an 8-year-old little girl. But just last week, a U.S. drone killed 30 pine nut farmers in Afghanistan. Did you read about that in the news? No, September 19th. So here's the link to that to verify, because I don't like to say things without... Yeah, if that knife could talk, I felt the energy when I held it in my hand. I was like, whoa, this is like a major piece of history. I've got a couple of knives in here that my great-grandfather had a chopping knife that he had to actually, chop animals with when he was harvesting his livestock. It's a pretty amazing knife. My great-grandfather's knife. I've got my great-grandfather's knife. I'm not angry at you, Soul Child, no. Why is the Middle Ages not recorded in public records in England? That's a good question. Yeah. Well, harvesting livestock means killing the animal and dressing their body and taking their meat off. And the knife that I have up there probably took down about 50 cows, maybe more. My grandfather had to use that knife to kill off cows that had hoof and mouth disease. Yeah, there was a big, huge, terrible problem that happened during that time period. Well, you call it whatever you want. Have you ever dressed an animal? You ever drained their blood and taken their meat? No, you haven't. I don't want to do it either. I haven't. You have, really? I feel like we have a livestock industry, and I really don't need to do anything but modernize it. You are a butcher? Excellent. Well, I don't really think we need to, just ignore the fact that Donald Trump has fired a bunch of USDA employees or at least told them to do something else. They're being told to stand down and not intercept, bad meat. And what I want to do is modernize USDA with RFID chipping of all the animals, track their hormones, make sure that we know what they take in, what they don't, so that the end product at your fast food restaurant doesn't put somebody to sleep, like this woman. Wow. She's falling asleep at the cash register. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that she's probably on some sort of a controlled substance. More than likely, you know. Ma'am, excuse me. Hello? Does she wake up in the end? She might have that. She might have been having a seizure or something, you know, or it could be heroin. She's a heroin for standing up, you know, asleep like that. It's meth, really? That's what you do? What, people are on meth? How do you know? Are you a meth head? We're already living in a zombie apocalypse. In a way, we are. When you walk around and see people kind of dozed out at the market when you go shopping, like, no, I never called you a meth head. I asked you if you were. I'm not insulting you. She has those special vibrating panties. I didn't know they had those. No offense, but have you worn that shirt and tie for over 10 years? The shirt is one of my favorite shirts, and I've actually patched it up. It's my favorite shirt, yeah. So it's got some issues, but I don't want to get into the issues. I have a tie that's brand new though. I picked this up at James Madison's house out in Arbor Mill, out there in Virginia. I don't own any vibrating underwear, no. I don't have any latex underwear whatsoever in my collection. You woke up standing at the corridor and the nurse and doctor were trying to get me to lie down in the bed. Oh, so you're a sleepwalker, huh? It could be. I don't wear the flag tie because nobody sent me a duplicate. I asked them, if you want to send me a flag tie, I'll take it. But I bought this for $28 at James Madison's gift shop. It has every single president that's ever lived, except, of course, Donald Trump. He might not be our president anytime soon, so no offense taken. I get the most out of my shirts. I have a collection of about 4 or 5 white shirts that I won't even wear in the show because I wore them for about 5 years in the show. And I still keep them in my cupboard because they're worn out. But I wear them during the day just to keep the sun off my skin and, you know, do stuff outside. They're great shirts. I absolutely like white shirts. Cotton preferably. Okay, any other questions about the woman we know as Greta? I think if she gets the right help from the right treatment plan, I think she'll be back normalized a little bit. I wish she was on her meds because then she wouldn't be so rude to people. You know, I just can't get into the background music. I'm just not a big metal fan. Greta waterboard. So yeah, you're welcome to send me a Freedom Friday tie. The one I have, I'm retiring. I might sell it on eBay. I'm not sure. This I'm not going to sell. But my Freedom Friday tie, I might make that an object that put out there for people. Donate it. No, I don't think so. I'm going to purge your statement. Donald Trump has made a very big calculated error with this recent attempt to hide the evidence on the whistleblower. The fact that I'm not obsessing on her, she's just a woman who spoke out. In fact, could we change the image to somebody else? How about Rudy Giuliani? Let's not forget, she's been used by various people in the past. I mean, look at Mao Zedong. Normie tier losers can't detect it, but this is the same crisis actor in each scenario. That's right. Stalin had a little girl that proclaimed that communism was the secret in Soviet Russia. Goebbels had a similar woman sitting there talking about the Nazi ethos. And now Obama. You know, he's even met with Greta, pushing the global climate change ethos. The very same people that are pushing global climate change issues are the Nazis. The same people that financed Adolf Hitler. Yeah, Goebbels. Yeah. I thought he was Himmler for a while, but Goebbels, it was different. Yeah, Joseph Goebbels was the propaganda minister. That's not. I think that's Himmler. Goebbels was the one that came up with it. Yeah, this is Himmler. Heinrich Himmler, the Nazis that orchestrated the death camps. You know, Hitler had a guy named Mueller too. Just like Trump had, you know, Robert Mueller investigate him and did a piss poor job of investigating him. Yeah, Hitler had a guy named Mueller working to create the death camps that killed all the Jews. You know that, right? Yeah, Hitler got money to get control of Germany from the Rothschild family. Yeah, really, Dave? As you know, I have had no press time, whereas this little girl has had nothing but free press time. I've been working for 11 years to talk about climate problems and solving problems like air filtration. She didn't have one idea to solve pollution problems. She never even mentioned an air filtration plan. Let me take this moment to give you my idea to save the world virtually, and it won't take you long. There are 10 rivers that they found are the most polluted rivers in the world. 10 rivers. She didn't mention chemtrails or air filtration. There's 10 rivers that are the worst polluters. If we had a water wheel system with plastic digesters that could melt plastic down and turn it back into oil, we could pull plastic waste out of every river that's troubled, 10 of them. And we could do this on the money donated by philanthropists. We would not need to tax you. That would make a significant dent in the plastic pollution in our oceans. Second of all, there's 16 cargo liners, cargo carriers that move lots of products around the world that are the most polluters. The smokestacks spew massive amounts of diesel in the atmosphere, polluting like crazy. We simply work with the smokestacks on those 16 ocean carriers. That takes another major amount of pollution out of the scenario. Global climate change protagonists are all talking about cap and trade being a solution to the world's problems. I'm sorry, but the biggest problem we're facing right now is from the very people that are talking about cap and trade. The people causing this global contamination of our skies. This is a huge problem that can be stopped with a presidential order. I can command every Air Force lieutenant to go out and stop these types of pilots from making trips. We can look into every plane that are out there, and the Evergreen Air Force has lots of planes that have all kinds of canisters in them. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we could do to solve this problem. You don't have to make a joke about everything. All right. Now, as you know, we have been working on these plans for about 11 years. And because I'm unable to get any press coverage in the mainstream media at all, I'm dealing with that constant problem, the pressure of being censored for 11 years. But I've also orchestrated a plan of solving problems that make sense for this country and for the world. And our ideas are so popular, Trump stole like 15 of them. I'm the guy that came up with the 1,000-mile fence idea, and he has refused to implement a decent fence. You know that last week Trump started talking about how he has got 400 miles of fence built? You know, the week prior he said he had 47 miles of fence built, and he showed a picture of one 10-foot margin of fence being constructed. That's what happened. I'm sorry to say, that's just not cool. I've been doing this for 11 years, and I can tell you, this is one of my first attempts to stop up and like step out and talk to a camera after I did 10-hour shows for 54 days straight. Here I was in 2008.
Hi, good morning. As you can see, I'm still wearing the shirt I wore last night and yesterday at Blog TV. It's exhilarating to do Blog TV. We've been having an incredible time. This is in fact day 54. I thought yesterday was day 54, but we did a recount, and we determined that today is day 54 as we approach the election. And as your potential write-in candidate, David John Sponheim, I'm here to show you my hybrid electric vehicle. It's not a plug-in hybrid. That's something I want to build at the U.S. Auto Corporation that I want you, the people, to own. Check out this vehicle. Isn't that a beautiful car? Everywhere we go, we get looks. One of the reasons people look at us is we get about 60 miles per gallon, which is really nice. We've been across the country a few times campaigning, and this vehicle is truly a dream to drive. It's a little bit tough on the bumps because those tires are high pressure, just to make sure that it goes as far as it can on that gallon of gas. Anyway, enjoy the show. We're going to be having a show every day, Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. on Blog TV, and I'm going to be talking about issues from renewable energy to getting out of Iraq. Thanks for listening, and don't miss our show. Thanks a lot.
So as you can see, yeah, you didn't hear that. Thank you. I've been truly trying to help for the past 10, 11 years. And for people to come in here and rag on the show nightly, it's almost beyond belief. Yeah. You found a fully equipped forgotten underworld. Wow. Underground bunker, fully equipped. That looks like a good video. Thanks, Anita. Yeah. Okay, if it is something that good, I'm going to have to, put it on hold for a while because I have to make sure everything's monetized during the recorded broadcast. So, what do you have, Drag King?
No, it's
a blast of cold weather blasts Washington State today. Really? Take a look.
not just in Washington. In fact, here at Snoqualmie Pass, it's already in the upper 40s, likely to be heading lower. We're
seeing some rain coming in. Remember, we're at about 3,000 feet here. Snoqualmie's at 4,000. But think about this. Usually when you're taking the kids out for Halloween, that's when we get our first real bite of cold, when you think, are they going out in their costumes or in their puffy coats covering those costumes up? Well, Halloween is well over a month away.
It's the mountains and the passes that could see the worst of it. The State Department of Transportation ready for possible slush on I-90 over the weekend.
We get it quite a bit, not this early though.
Raymond Viones heading west with a carload of students from Sela to Federal Way for a swim meet.
These vehicles are pretty well stocked, and they have four-wheel drive.
It's all driven by plunging temperatures. Raj Bhatt here from Orlando, Florida.
I've been visiting here several times, but it's never cold in September.
About a month early. But, you know, this is not to imply that the next month is going to be frigid or anything like that. This is a weather event.
I sat down with state climatologist Nick Bond, who pulled up.
Okay, well, I believe that, yeah, BP Earthwatch was talking about some major changes in the weather pattern here in Washington. It's going to be a cold front. So I kind of agree with the Republicans that we are entering an ice age. And I kind of agree with the Democrats that we are definitely dealing with pollution problems and climate change. So regardless, both parties don't really agree on how to arrest the problem and fix it. And no one's talking about filtration. I'm the only person. Filtering carbon out of the air is clearly the best way, and stopping these ridiculous chemtrails.
And I don't know what you're into, kidnapping.
I don't look like Jason Statham, no. No, that looks like a good promo for a movie, though. Yeah. Yeah, I would never even attempt to look like a guy who's balding, you know. His face and my face are completely different. I don't have a cleft chin, for one. I have hair for the other, but... I suppose if I had a cleft chin, it would be a different story, though, wouldn't it? You know, I've never really thought of myself looking like him. He's about, what, 5'10"? I'm 6'4", so... I don't have an intent to slick my hair. You have to wake up propaganda. Yeah. I'm very woken up. Yeah, I'm believe me, I don't believe that climate change can be solved by adding cap and trade legislation. I don't believe taxing people for you know, the meat that they're eating like Bernie Sanders wants to do. He wants to raise a tax so high on meat that you stop eating meat. As if the price of $9 a pound is not too high already. Thank you, Shelley. You're so kind. Judicial Watch is suing the State Department for records on the firing of a Biden Ukraine prosecutor. Good. Hey, Judicial Watch, I like their work. They're trying to protect Trump in the process. I don't mind. Just like I like Citizens for Ethics in Washington. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington is another good organization. They oftentimes sue the right people. They sued Obama to get his guest list, to find out that he had a videographer and James Alefantis come to his house 5 times. We don't know why. He was going to his house 5 times, James Alefantis was, thanks to their reveal of the guest list. He went there with Chris Crocker, that guy who made lots of money on YouTube, talking about Britney Spears. I'd like to know what they videotaped at the house with a transgender. Yeah, breaking news. They're suing State Department for records on firing of Biden Ukraine prosecutors. Yeah, getting to the bottom of this is something that Republicans are tasked to do, and I think that's good. I used to think that the Republicans' investigation of the Democrats was for naught, but I'm beginning to believe it's leading in the same direction. Same with the Democrats' investigation of Republicans. Their Russian involvement is leading in the same direction. It turns out both parties have been working with Russia and oligarchs and funding from Russia. We have a problem that's deeper and already entrenched in our country. This level of corruption where the Russian Zionists have taken over has got to be vetted out. We have got to find the source of it. And I pretty much know the source of it. AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Affairs Committee, is at the source. And their funding comes from synagogues like Chabad Leibovitch, the very same people that hooked Donald Trump up to the Russian oligarchs. Ironically, that's Jared Kushner's and Ivanka Trump's personal synagogue. So Chabad Leibovitch is at the center, and AIPAC is at the center of a lot of this deep control. And they call this Zionism. I'm not a Zionist. I don't support Israel overall. I support Israel as an ally, but I don't want them to lead our foreign policy, and that's Zionism. Yeah, and I agree, Dark Engine. Only a third party can fix this mess. Anyway, I talk about air filtration. That little girl did not. It's kind of sad. I talked about chemtrails nightly. I take the hit, and people can laugh at me all they want, but I'm doing the right thing. I don't flip-flop. That's the important thing. I'm not like Trump. Yeah, he's already kind of reversed his position on gun rights. Now wanting to impose a red list law. This guy's the biggest flip-flopper I've ever seen. They practically, named the word flip-flop after Trump. Well, let's be clear. It's getting cold fast in Washington, I know. Yeah, we're going to see a big turnaround. It's called winter. It's not necessarily climate change, but BP Earthwatch was claiming that there's a big cold spell coming to the whole northeast or northwest sector. They call him Flipper. Stranger than fiction. We have some scary things of the boss of that robot. They've got a robot that can do practically anything, and it's going to impinge on our personal rights and freedoms if they can roll this thing out and create RoboCops. Yeah. Trump doesn't have a stand on this growing technology. I don't want an unleashed amount of robotics to be used against the people of this country. I want to reinstate posse comitatus. Prevent the government from actually executing the U.S. Army within the United States. But with these types of robots, nobody's going to be able to stop these things. Check this out. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about? Okay, we got a few people who are obviously big Trump tards in the show. You get banned as soon as you come in. We're not going to sit back and watch Trump steal my ideas and act like they're his own and control an election and run around misusing power and thinking he can get away with it. I was the guy that said that they are going to impeach him, and I was right, okay? That's right. Here's the deal. We the people have had enough of Donald Trump and his lies. We're not going to sit back and watch this happen. Even the Democrats were goaded into actually doing the impeachment process. Do the impeachment. Yeah, so we're going to see exactly why Donald Trump should be impeached. This entire misuse of power over Ukraine is just the starting point. They've got cheating during the election, which according to Robert Mueller is more than enough to get him impeached. At least he says he can't in any way exonerate Donald Trump. We got that much from Mueller, but he did say that Mueller did say that Trump knew that the Russians were rigging the election in his favor, and he never mentioned it to the FBI. That's called cheating the election. That's one of the criterias for impeachment. Yeah, isn't that great? And then, of course, the second one is misuse of power. Let's not forget Trump misused power when he fired James Comey and then tried to fire Robert Mueller, according to Dan McGahn. Not to mention telling his son Donald Trump to flip testimony and change witness tampering is what he did. Telling Donald Trump to change his statement about wanting to help adopted children in Russia to looking for emails from Hillary when he met the attorney for Russia to end sanctions. And by the way, Trump didn't impose sanctions for about a year and a half, which is exactly what Russia paid him to do. Trump is allowed to eat more than he has to of cheeseburgers and fish burgers and Diet Coke. So that no one seems to care about his weight problem. Except for maybe you. Now, I brought this picture to your notice 2 days ago. And now you're putting it out in front of me. Somebody said, David, what's wrong with Donald Trump? I mean, he's literally sporting a 62 waist. I don't know. He doesn't seem to have any concern of. If I were in that condition, I'd be wearing a muumuu, and I wouldn't be golfing. He's got muumuu on his mind. You can think that Trump is better than any Democrat. I'm okay with that, except for the fact that Donald Trump is doing everything the deep state wants him to do. I don't go to Vegas because of Mark getting illegal money to create his hotel. He purchased a Wynn suite in Vegas. If it's a party, I'm not going. Basically, Mark has made a ton of money censoring our show, enough to hire other streamers to come to Vegas and enjoy the show. Yeah, it's basically insane how much censorship I've had to experience. That's a backswing transfer of muscle. That looked like a gut to me. You like peach tea? That's pretty good. Have you ever tried peach potpourri? If you ever want to make your house smell really good, get some peach potpourri and put it in boiling water. If you're selling your house, that's the way to do it. It just makes your house smell like it's new almost. Yeah. You can take a house that smells like a crack house and turns into a... What's that fresh smell? Why does everything look like a crack house? So are you concerned about the 5G network? Because Donald Trump isn't. Many people who realize now that Trump wants to impose bans on e-cigarettes, and all the Democrats are doing the same thing. Donald Trump is doing that for the cigarette companies. The cigarette lobby wants them. The Democratic states that need tax revenues from cigarettes want people to become cigarette addicts. Now the Democrats and Republicans are working together to make everyone a cigarette addict. Well, I'm concerned about the 5G network because Trump supports it and I don't. I want to see a moderated, I call it a 5G plus network that's safe. I want to see a safe 5G plus network. You know, I'm just not into having hookers. Thank you anyway. It does, Stormy, I bet. Yeah, that's probably a big problem. You have infections growing from places in your body. I'm so sorry for you. It's not easy being you. Yeah. This is hilarious, this cartoon. This is a great advertisement for America's Third Party. Double negative, need new blood, vote ATP. He's way too old to be president. Just look at him. That's hilarious. Thanks for that. You're awesome. Yeah, we do need new blood. I'll save that image in my banner section. Well, let's be clear. Yeah, so we're going to be running without Sarah for a while because she's out with the girls' night out tonight. Call it new blood. Yeah, she had some friends over and decided, she needed her private time. And plus, she works all the time, I retired 10 years ago, so I could do this show. I have the phone here, but it doesn't seem to be getting through. Yeah, maybe you've been blocked on our show. I've never had to put pants on a donkey, no. An abandoned nuclear bunker? Really?
Hello.
I'm not allowed to play those phone jacker things. Yeah, don't post any phone jacker things. YouTube just tried to monetize my show last night. I had to actually mute that link you sent me in our last night's show. So today I ordered it to be muted. It's a 2-minute segment that's totally, without sound. Here's an underground nuclear bunker. It was built in World War II, then used later as a Cold War command post. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Wow. Let's set up our operation there. Abandoned world. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad we can get these links from you. Thank you, Adina. That's very nice of you. That fits our entire plan for tonight. Watching TV shows. My name was not mentioned by the CIA Democratic whistleblower. Why are you making stories up, Mad Dog? That's ridiculous. Anyway, let me tell you about the 5G EMP safe solution. This is a concept that actually transcends the impeachment process. 5G has not been tested. And when it does get testing, it shows it kills animals. like the one that was tested in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Actually, it was tested right outside of The Hague, and they found that the mast went up and 300 birds dropped from the sky as soon as they hit the electricity. So what this will have is the 5G networks that we have today will have limiters on them that'll prevent large amounts of electricity going through them and weaponizing these things. We have to start thinking about all of the electromagnetic field radiation and its potential effect on the human population. So we'll definitely have limiters on them. And plus, it'll be safe for an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse situation. Now, unfortunately, you've taken my face and pasted on Trump's hairstyle, and it's just not me. No. You lost the chin, and you're going to have to do some better work than that. Yeah, I don't look like that, even with Trump's hair. Thank you, still sippers. Can we get some more of Larry during his deposition? Well, yeah, I mean, Larry Sinclair went out of his way to expose Barack Obama's homosexual act with him. And I think it's safe to say that, we can't just sit back and ignore the work that he did. Obviously, he was very instrumental in exposing. He's very instrumental in exposing the man we know as Barack Obama. Yeah. Let's take a look at Larry Sinclair one more time. I haven't done it during the recording broadcast, but it's important to note that a very brave man, a courageous homosexual cocaine user, went out of his way to talk about his time with Barack Obama.
By providing Senator Obama exited the limousine during the fall of 2007. And I released them now publicly in the hope that someone may be able to connect the dots between these telephone numbers and Mr. Young. Those numbers are 954-758.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you the Stargate. This amazing Stargate and theory dates back to Egyptian times. I don't want to expose the numbers of the limousine driver, but there he was telling people the limousine driver's number to contact him just to verify that he was with Barack Obama in a limousine in 1999. That was pretty decent of him, don't you think? I don't think he had any fruit spray. I've often wondered why people in my past haven't looked me up and said, Dave, what are you doing? I mean, why are you running for president? Turns out somebody did. When I first started running back in 2008, when you saw that photograph of me earlier, yeah, I actually had a guy from my dormitory who I roomed with call me up and said, Dave, what are you doing? And sure enough, I said, yeah, well, how do you find out? He said, well, I'm in the media. So I had sent out 200 press releases across the country, and the only contact I had was some guy who was a newspaper guy who I knew in college. So I know that my press releases got out, but they purposely, willfully censored me back in 2008. No, my cat has a fur coat that you would absolutely love to touch. Thanks, Shelley. Yeah, my cat's fur coat is better than a mink. I'm not kidding. We've given this cat the best food, and I don't know. I'm blessed with the best fur coat I've ever seen in a cat. So I'm very happy that she's still alive. She's going on 17 years old. Yeah, she's such a beautiful cat too. I'm hoping she lives to be 30 or so, but you never know. We've got her on CBD oil to keep her from getting too much arthritis. It helps too. It really does. I can see her. Sometimes she actually runs around like she was a little kitty right after her CBD oil. Anyway, unlike the Democrats and Republicans, I've got a plan for people to work in America. Now, you may not even want to work in America. We've got a plan for you too. But the solar rooftop revolution will mean jobs, and the homestead renewal plan will mean jobs. So we're expecting about 100 to 200,000 jobs installing solar panels on rooftops in America. and up to 1.2 million in home renovations. We've got the money already in HUD. We just have to allocate it to hire people who are U.S. citizens who want to work for a living wage. All you need to do is prove that you're a U.S. citizen, and we'd give you $15 an hour starting pay. If you're a journeyman plumber or an electrician who's got licensing, we can give you $25 an hour without all the hassles of an employer who yells at you. It's more like you're working on your own time. And you're working with other people to teach them how to do that. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt a lot of people are turning gay in California because there's so many Beyond Burgers being sold. Yeah, and the forever, all the chemicals too, yeah. The spraying of chemicals. Well, soybeans are an issue. If you're a person who's really enjoying the non-meat soy burgers, these things are made oftentimes with genetically modified soy, and even regular soy can kick in and cause what is called an increase in your esters. So if you're a person who is beginning to seem like you're feeling gay thoughts, you may want to eliminate soy from your diet, for real. All right. Your cat died at 15. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm really worried about our cat because, I'm trying to treat her as great as I can because she's such an incredible cat to pet. She's the best lap kitty I've ever had. But, if you get a cat to live to 15 years, you're lucky. I'm very lucky at almost 17 years. The oldest living cat is 38 years. Yeah, so. Yeah, she's 38 years and 3 days, and she's just a precious little cat. Look at this little cat. Austin, Texas. Her name is Cream Puff. She lived to be, she's no longer living. She lived 38 years and 3 days in Austin, Texas. Look at that. That's amazing. Wow. And there's a new world record holder, 24 years. Good to know. This is interesting. This cat is 24 years old. She's deaf and blind and meows for everything. Oh, now my cat kind of looks like this cat. 24 years old. We call her Stroppy Poppy. Poppy does seem to be outliving all our other pets too. I'll be darned. Yeah, anyway, we got CBD oil we give her in her food every night, so it helps her quite a bit. Your Chihuahua lived to be 25 now, dog? Wow. That's right, Dark Engine, thank you. Oh, there's one that celebrated their 30th birthday recently. Dark Engine's doing some link research. You guys are the best link people out there. There she is. Wow, 30 years old. Oh, look at that. What a character. This is the world's oldest cat. Rubble. Rubble the cat. 30th anniversary. That's amazing. Oh, look at that. They're inseparable. Well, that's a long-haired cat. Mine's a short-haired tortoiseshell tabby. But she's also got a little bit of Burmese in her and a little bit of coon cat in her. So enough of my cat. We'll talk about what's on your mind. Yeah, we don't take those dial-up things. You're not allowed to post them here. They literally monetized my video last night because I put 2 minutes of that on the show. Yes, you can't keep sending those things in here. I won't even allow them. Sorry. That's your loss, my gain. Now, in deference to the Republicans, I want to mention that, there are people that are standing up in favor of Donald Trump. And in no way am I trying to just vilify him over this Ukrainian mishap of reaching out without a proper authority for from William Barr. You might say the president can do anything he wants. I say, I don't think so. He had to go through the proper channels, and William Barr didn't post any paperwork about this at all. Yeah. Sorry to blow your bubble. Blow your bubble. Okay, Ukraine's ex-prosecutor general says Biden's son did not violate Ukrainian law. Oh, really? Okay. Ex-prosecutor general of Ukraine, Yury Lutsenko, denies that Hunter Biden violated Ukrainian legislation during his work in Ukraine. From the perspective of Ukrainian legislation, he did not violate anything, Lutsenko commented activity of Biden in Ukraine. Personal lawyer of Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, relied on the words of Lutsenko concerning the accusations in Biden's case. Really? Yeah, he was. Well, I think there was a lot of misdeeds done by Biden. I think that Trump is on the right track. But according to Ukraine, he didn't violate the Ukrainian law, but he certainly would have violated the U.S. law by using $1 billion held over their head to fire a prosecutor that was swooping down on Hunter Biden and causing him grief. It's just a misuse of power is what it is. No, he actually has to go through proper channels of an investigation. The president can't just contact some world leader and try to get dirt on his opponent, you stupid imbecile. You're out of here. The Democrats have a good case because Trump willingly admitted that he contacted Ukraine to find out information about corruption under Biden. He had to go through proper channels to do that. William Barr would have had to file a complaint about it. He didn't do that. Yeah. There you are. Somebody said, explain this. It's very dark. Are you looking for your next meal? I'm feeding this cat twice a day now. She is so incredibly spoiled. I know, you want your second meal. Now, this is not a case of me hanging out and cuddling with Nancy Pelosi, a younger version of her too. This is actually me being photoshopped onto a picture of Nancy Pelosi. And it was not something I did. Is that a good explanation? Biden admitted it on camera. He admitted it. There's no mystery. The fact is he admitted it on camera implies that he really did trade power and trade funds to Ukraine for firing a prosecutor. That admission is almost an admission of guilt, but they're claiming that the corruption of this prosecutor was so bad that it had nothing to do with Hunter Biden. That's what he's claiming. He's trying to squeak his way out. Biden is trying to slither his way out of the accusation that Trump has made. Well, I tend to agree with you. I don't think there will be another Democratic president. Unless, of course, Biden were to choose me as his vice president, and then we ran together and held hands, and as long as he didn't grab Sarah by the shoulder or maybe worse, I'd be okay with that. And if Donald Trump chose me as his vice president, very good chance he would win the next election. But if he goes in there with Mike Pence, Mr. Cardboard cutout of a Christian religious freak, by all means, lose the election, Donald. Because people don't warm up to Pence. It's like a guy who, literally wants to take away a woman's right to choose what she wants for her future baby. I don't support abortion, but I'm not in favor of reversing Roe v. Wade either. Now, Ukrainian prosecutor is claiming Biden meddled in Chicago extradition effort. It is getting more and more tough for Mr. Biden as many people are speaking out about his actions as vice president.
Watch your team in the morning. Tanya Babich, Terrell Brown, meteorologist Tracy Butler, and Roz Varon. ABC 7 Eyewitness News in the morning.
Judy, when then Vice President Joe Biden went to Ukraine in 2015 and met with the president of that Eastern European nation, a Chicago criminal case was one of his top agenda items, according to Ukraine's prosecutor general at the time. That report tonight in the Kiev Post puts a Chicago twist on what is at the heart of the current White House whistleblower scandal. The Chicago case involves a Ukrainian business tycoon indicted under the Obama administration, a man federal prosecutors in Chicago have been trying to extradite to the U.S. to stand trial. President Trump has said that Ukraine's former prosecutor general Viktor Shokin was fired in March 2016 after pressure from then U.S. Vice President Biden in an alleged effort by Biden to derail an investigation of his son's company. That is an allegation Mr. Biden has strongly denied. Now, though, according to this affidavit reported by the Kiev Post, Shokin claims that Biden had also been trying to interfere with the case of this man, gas tycoon Dmitry Firtash, who is the subject of a drawn-out extradition fight by federal prosecutors in Chicago. Firtash, a Ukrainian oligarch, was indicted by a Chicago grand jury in 2014 on bribery racketeering charges, alleging that Indian officials were paid off in deals to secure lucrative titanium destined for Chicago-based Boeing. Firtash was arrested in Austria and has been jailed in Vienna ever since. According to this report in the Kiev Post, citing the Shokin affidavit, during Biden's 2015 visit to Ukraine, he met with then-President Petro Poroshenko and directly manipulated the political leadership of Ukraine on false pretexts in order to prevent Firtash from returning to Ukraine. The ex-prosecutor said Obama administration officials didn't want Firtash to be allowed to leave Austria for Ukraine because the Eastern European nation doesn't allow extradition of its citizens. If Firtash was allowed to return to his homeland, the belief was he would never have been extradited for trial in Chicago. The ex-prosecutor's affidavit is said to have been requested by Firtash's attorneys. Firtash's Chicago lawyer and former federal prosecutor Dan Webb tonight says he's unaware of the Ukraine statement because European lawyers are handling the extradition. In a statement late today, Biden's campaign team called Viktor Shokin a corrupt prosecutor, and they reiterated there is no evidence of wrongdoing by Mr. Biden in Ukraine. What a tangled web.
What a tangled web of deceit. Yes. Well, that's more confirmation of no foul play by Biden. Hey, we'll see back and forth as we see the beginning of the impeachment trial take place. Like I said, I'm sure that the Democrats, if they look a little deeper, have more than enough to impeach Donald Trump with the Russian involvement, as well as the obstruction of justice, which seem to be a thing Trump does all the time, including holding back this whistleblower complaint and putting it in a secret server that only is used for national security purposes. That was an admission of guilt by the mere action that Trump tried to hide it. And let's not forget that Trump did hide all the transcripts and notes of the meetings with Vladimir Putin. Not one was ever revealed, showing his secret communications with Putin were going on while he was president. Yep. So this is an ongoing problem that is not going to go away anytime soon. So get used to it. I've been the one saying this impeachment is going to go forward all along. I've been right about everything. I even said that Donald Trump would never repeal Obamacare. I was right about that too. Did he use the N-word in the show? You're picking on Mad Dog. I don't appreciate that. Yeah. But you're not allowed to use the N-word here. Yeah. You're getting something from Blue Boreal Mountain Oryx. You're getting ready for survival. You got your prepper equipment getting going here. Yeah, check it out. You're buying this for prepping for the future. The Loden Green wool rack. That's a pretty cool outfit. Yeah, it's really very durable. Look at that. Yeah, I can't think of a better thing to have out there in the woods. It's Anaroric 100% wool. And a word to the wise, don't ever throw your wool, don't ever light your wool on fire. Yeah, if you're, lighting a cigarette and you set fire to yourself, it literally burns cyanide. Yes. And we read recently, Dark Engine, that Biden's son, Hunter Biden, partnered with the infamous mobster Whitey Bulger's nephew and former Secretary of State John Kerry's stepson for his lucrative business deal with the Bank of China, according to reporter Peter Schweitzer. Thanks for that tip, Dark Engine. Well, I know, I'm not going to keep you from coming in the room if you're an admitted fascist or a communist or a libertarian or a Republican. No, he claims he's a hybrid capitalist. There you go. That's better. Okay, so we had some pretty powerful stuff tonight from various people. Obviously, this ploy by the global elitists of putting a girl with long yellow braids on, acting like it's some, major thing, has been something that's been going on for a long, long time. Hitler did it. Same kind of thing. Okay, I'll add that Judicial Watch story about the lawsuit over firing of Biden Ukraine prosecutor. That's going to be good. I'll add that to tonight. So I'm trying not to take stands, even though I want to see an impeachment of Donald Trump. But I am at least adding a little bit of credibility to the argument the Republicans are pitching, because it does look like the Democrats are guilty. It looks like Biden did some really nefarious things to protect his son Hunter, who is making a hell of a lot of money for no reason. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to go deliver the food to the cat. So in order to do that, I have to give you a little music, fill up the story, because Sarah's not here right now. She's with friends, girls' night out. Okay, there you go. Nice profile. Keep promoting Cool Rock. I appreciate that. Okay, here is Dark Side by Scissor Fight, and I'll be right back. Well, 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 we're back, yes. Freedom Friday, man, this is what it's all about. Having a toilet that looks like this, look at that. The freedom to have your own standing bidet. What the hell is that? Is this some for real toilet? It's for somebody who can't actually sit on the pot. Okay, thank you for telling me. I didn't even realize those things existed. Yes, Stormy is asking, David, can you explain hybrid capitalism to these people? Well, I created a book called Hybrid Capitalism with Sarah, and it's available at our website in the store. If you want to download it, it's 99 cents. It's available. And yeah, by the way, we are at Third Party if you want to catch us on Twitter. Thank you. Yeah, and because hybrid capitalism addresses the current problems as well as the problems when I first wrote it, it's still very applicable. But the book is a template on how the country can actually get a return on investment for the government so that the government can run like a business and no longer have to rely on your taxes to finance it. And the concept is very simple. We don't compete with companies unfairly. We simply enter the marketplace and compete, like generic pharmaceuticals, for instance. The government could produce a very good product for people that don't have a lot of money and appeal to a market that doesn't even affect the big pharma industry. There are a lot of people that are going without their meds right now because they can't afford a $160 bottle of medicine for that month. So we could provide those bottles at $20 and still make money. And the government gets a kickback, and you get a kickback in your taxes. It's a concept that would work and mesh very well together. So running the country efficiently with a pay-as-you-go plan is built into this model. Thanks, man. All right, thank you for loving me. Bam Margera. Well, we can't possibly keep spending money like the Democrats, Republicans have been doing, $1 trillion over budget every single year. And now they're looking at $340 billion for Democrat increases, which brings the budget at $1.34 trillion over budget. That's what we're looking at for next business cycle. I don't know how much longer this country can survive without an austerity plan. Now, they've got the Brexit in England, but they don't have any plan here in America. And this could be that plan. It's not designed to destabilize the country. We're not going to cut jobs that would be necessarily, vital to the functionality of the country. Remember when Trump actually didn't pass the extension on the debt and that we were literally without a budget? Well, the government, it turns out, ran okay, except TSA couldn't have people coming to the airport properly. There was a problem there. And that was something that we could correct, actually. It turns out the Coast Guard didn't get paid. They were upset. So say we bring the Coast Guard into the fold of the National Guard, make them part of the National Guard, or a subsidiary thereof. The Coast Guard would then merge their duties and they'd meet in the same offices. We'd save money there. We'd also have the opportunity of using the Coast Guard to replace the TSA when the government shuts down. So a lot of fat cats that don't get their salaries during a government shutdown, we just tell them that you're on vacation, but it's not a paid vacation. It's not a paid furlough. Whereas Trump, his mistake cost us dearly. We had to pay their salaries and boost them for overtime. So, no, I'm not going to ban anybody, and there's no way that's going to happen, so bag it, okay? Sarah went to a posh restaurant with her friends. Yes. She's having a girls' night out, and I said, hey, enjoy. Maybe she might come back for the show, but I don't know if she'll make a cameo in the evening. If she did, that'd be special. As you know, very few people do 5-hour shows like I do every day for 11 years. In fact, I'm the only one in the world. So you're kind of watching history being made every night you see the show. No. Sarah's just got some great girlfriends that she likes to get together. Many of them share her same vision for teaching, No, Frank doesn't do a 24/7 show with a live spokesman speaking constantly on camera. I'm the only person in the world who's done that. Frank simply runs cameras of his house and shows them online and uses up, valuable server time. I have not advanced to that, although I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking of going to a 24/7 format, but I'm the guy who does 5 hours consistently every night on the dot without fail, except for Sundays. I take a day off. But what's really interesting is because I've got this history behind me, people are aware of the show, and the word is spreading that this is truly some sort of a happening. And that's what I'm really appreciative of. I'm glad you guys tune into the show and watch me. Now, one person has already dropped off of the register for Donald Trump. Yeah, his name is Kurt Volker, and he was the Ukrainian envoy for Ukraine, and he's resigned over this entire problem. Shows Donald Trump has got a weak hand. It's not like he has a control over the situation. He's got people literally quitting under the job because they can't handle the pressure of having to lie for him and reform statements and then lose their job and then get charged with accessory to a crime. I mean, people are walking around wondering, gee, am I going to go down with a sinking ship called Donald Trump? Well, let's be clear. This is the guy. He's going to be leaving his post. He can't handle the heat. And then Pompeo is subpoenaed by the House Democrats over the Trump-Ukraine scandal. So Pompeo, our Secretary of State, will have to reach out and touch someone. Now, Pompeo is on record, ironically...
CNN has confirmed that Kurt Volker, President Trump's Ukraine diplomat, who's mentioned in the whistleblower complaint, has now suddenly resigned. We're joined by the former Republican chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Rogers. He's a CNN national security commentator. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. So give me your quick reaction. How significant is this resignation? Is it another admission of some potential wrongdoing?
I would be cautious not to say it was an admission of wrongdoing other than, hey, this thing is getting messy. I've got other work to do. He was Volker was a former ambassador to NATO, so he has experience. But getting under this much scrutiny certainly doesn't look good, I have to tell you that.
Wolf, are you okay? Do you hear Wolf? He was really coughing there. Yeah.
I was the...
But you got to understand, Pompeo is no angel. Look what he said on camera.
CIA director, we lied, we cheated. I was the CIA director, we lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like... We had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
What is that? You can lie to us and get a job and have a fat belly and run around acting like you're making trade deals when you're screwing up foreign policy? Yeah, this is an American experiment, and we put the worst possible people in charge. Yeah, seriously. He's right about that, but he's not... The idea that he literally admits he's a liar.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole.
Yeah. Okay, good for you. Hey, we've got live cameras in. Anybody can go in from anywhere in the world, but nobody's taken me up on the offer here at iVlog. If you haven't gone to our Cool Rock site and seen that you can get into our live cameras, you've got about a year to do it, because Flash is going to be taken down December of 2020. Yeah, so this is your opportunity to go in with a live cam. Enjoy it while you got it. We don't know about HTML5 and live cam sharing. There's not a lot of sites that do that. Twitch runs on a live cam base. We're going to see if we can adapt to their model. I've got a Twitch account. I'm reactivating it. It is finally up and running. We're going to give that another shot this week. Sarah and I almost dialed into it tonight, but she was from a remote phone getting my passcode, and I couldn't really have... I needed her phone right near me in order to do it. But yeah, the CIA and the liars in our government, it goes on and on. But I think this guy's a smart man to being the envoy to Ukraine, to just leave his post when Trump was needing him the most. What a great way to get out from under any pressure, you know? Good move. Mr. Volker, who told Secretary Mike Pompeo on Friday he was stepping down, offered no public explanation, but a person informed about his decision said he concluded that it was impossible to be effective in his assignment given the developments of recent days. That's significant right there. So it's apparent that Donald Trump, what he does typically is he does damage control by threatening men and women who are behind the scenes in the area of his troubled area. Like he'll go after low-level DHS employees and try to throw them under the bus. This is what Donald does. So him getting out before that is done, it means he got out of the line of fire. The firing of James Comey, Andrew McCabe, the attempted firing of Robert Mueller, according to Dan McGahn, all that stuff points to Donald Trump trying to obstruct in every way. So he's just getting out of the potential fire coming at this guy. Now, whatever he said to Donald Trump to launch this entire thing into the media is mostly due to, Donald Trump spilling the beans. He actually sent his talking points out to CNN and to the Democratic House accidentally. Donald Trump was framing his entire argument about the Ukrainian thing, and he sent the talking points to the Republicans and to Fox Media, but somehow it was mistakenly sent to the Democrats and to the CNN. So they are fully aware of how Donald Trump is trying to frame this entire event. So if forewarned is forearmed, the Democrats can now sit back for the next 2 weeks and assemble their case. Democrats, I understand, are going to take a break. I haven't confirmed that, but they're going to take a break from adjudicating this situation. But if I were them, I would cancel their vacation and get right on it. But they kind of have a time where they can come back before the holidays, so that they're taking a break now so they can take another vacation later. That's how Congress works. Totally useless. Nice, huh? Great, Dave. Thanks so much. Now, in deference to Donald Trump, he did come out with a really good video, naming and blaming, and let's take a look at that video. It came on today, and it was a tweet from Donald Trump himself. It says, "I am draining the swamp." Let's play it.
The Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Joe Biden promised Ukraine $1 billion if they fired the prosecutor investigating his son's company.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine...
One moment, please. Loading.
...to investigate corruption, the Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
All right. Thank you, Donald. Well, see, I'm not trying to give it a one-sided approach. Hey, you're welcome to, call this whole thing a complete sham and fake news, and it's all a Russian hoax. I don't care what you want to mouth off in your head. The fact is, Donald Trump has just continually inspired controversy everywhere he turns. And one presiding fact over this whole argument is that he's not calming our country down. He's not smoothing out relations with the foreign trading partners like China. He's not even making any advances on human rights with China. He isn't even addressing issues like the dangers of the 5G network, chemtrails, which I talk about, the concern I have over genetically modified food. He doesn't talk about genetically modified food or anything like that. He eats it. So I'm concerned that this guy is completely oblivious to the environment and what's happening around us, and he doesn't even have any solutions. And he's kind of wasting 4 years of time here, as did Obama for 8 years. So why would the cops have given Stormy $450,000? Yeah, I don't know. According to Michael Cohen, he gave $450,000. He got $450,000 from Trump to silence not only Stormy Daniels, but additionally Karen McDougal. So that's part of the $450,000. And wherever else he had to silence, what other woman he had to silence, Justice for Katie, the guy who walked up to her and threatened her life, that guy had to cost some money. Thugs for hire don't do that for free, And the same thing happened to Stormy Daniels. She had a guy walk up to her and say, hey, you better stop that Trump thing. And then she looked at her daughter, and the guy looked at her daughter and said, oh, what a pretty daughter. 1-year-old sitting in a jump seat. Oh, we wouldn't want anything bad to happen to her mother now, would we? Total thug threatened Stormy Daniels. Isn't that right? You were there, Stormy. You remember. So that would have been a serious charge against Trump and his cronies. And Michael Cohen kind of drew the line there. It connected the dots. And so did Giuliani. He connected the dots there, too. We know for a fact that Donald Trump gave Michael Cohen $450,000 in reimbursement funds. That's a lot of money for hush money. That's right, Dave. And now Stormy's having to pay $239,000 in payback for Donald Trump's trial, which was Michael Avenatti's doing, calling it a defamation suit when Trump won and presided over the winning of that. Now Stormy has to pay him $239,000. Yeah. So that's a problem. And you're now suing your lawyer because he's the guy who made $430,000 crowdfunding money for you while having you parade around showing your body off, your beautiful body off, and making money on the side. And I understand he also didn't pay for his property, his leased building he had in California. Michael Avenatti was $230,000 in arrears there. Meanwhile, he starts an extortion case, or rather is alleged to have extorted money or something from Nike. 18 counts of extortion he's facing, and you're probably suing him too for back money, so nobody's getting paid. The whole thing's a nightmare. But the fact is you did get $130,000 initially. So, and Donald kept you to keep you silent. Yeah. Do you still have that dress that Donald Trump's semen is on? Because at one point you said you had a dress confirming that. A lot of money's been transferred, yeah. Michael Avenatti is at the kind of the center storm there. And he definitely didn't have the right to get $430,000 crowdfunding when he was talking about running for president. That's a gross misuse of crowdfunding. I can't do that. I can't get any money through crowdfunding or GoFundMe. Stormy Daniels settles for $450,000 after the arrest. Okay. So you have that dress that he spewed on in the magazine you spanked him with? Really? Did Donald Trump want to be spanked? Is that what happened, Stormy? Did he beg you to spank him, or was it just like a playful thing you were doing because you felt like spanking him? Okay, we have the story here, settlement, Stormy Daniels. Dateline. Stormy Daniels collects $450,000 after arrest. Oh yeah, good. So you got at least $450,000 out of that suit. So are you going to pay the $237 or $239?
Stormy Daniels, the porn star who says she had an affair with President Trump, is out on bail right now for getting a little bit too close to people at a strip club in Ohio. So Daniels was at this club late last night for an event, and according to police, she took her top off and then she forced the faces of some of the customers into her chest. This included police officers who we have just learned from the police department were undercover. Now in Ohio, regardless of who it is, that's illegal. Strippers are not allowed to touch anyone while nude. Well, Daniel's lawyer, Michael Avenatti, says this was all a setup.
So she was... How old was the story here? Michael Avenatti's not representing you anymore. I'm not sure. How old is that story? Yeah, Stormy, could you answer what's going on here? You're sending the dress to Smithsonian? Okay, are you going to have a DNA tested for... It does happen quite a bit. A lot of women get close to men. And there's I think a 9-inch law. Or is it a 10-inch law? Yeah, I think it's a 10-inch law, or maybe a 1-foot law. Maybe it's a 14-inch law. Whatever law it is, in whatever state, it is law. And, in our state, they give police officers $100 to go to strip bars just to lure women into situations where they can arrest them. That's kind of sickening to me, to use tax dollars to give to some officer to go sit at a strip bar to get real close to a woman and then arrest her. There's something wrong with that system. Now apparently THC cartridges are being contaminated with. You're going to see a whole rash of that happening. This is a problem that relates to a particular product that is found in the moldicide that they use on the plants. But tests are showing bootleg marijuana vapes tainted with hydrogen cyanide. The reason why there's cyanide in there is because, ironically, because of a particular moldicide that they use on the plant that should never be used on marijuana plants. And because the government hasn't led in standards for growing marijuana, because the government hasn't taken a lead, yeah, they're going to find hydrogen cyanide in derivatives that have been basically modified to increase the potency of the THC. So let's take a look at this story. Yeah, that's kind of a sad
Joe Biden.
That's kind of a sad story about, marijuana. A lot of it is tainted with this particular moldicide. Let me give you a link here on the cyanide story. The government hasn't even connected the dots here. But I will make a note of that. Every night I have the option of editing these videos before I upload them. And I've got a really cool editor here, XSplit has. Hey, excellent, Mad Dog. Going without beer and going alcohol free. That's really good. You'll feel better as a result of it. At least it puts you in the right direction in life. Yeah, there's nothing more destructive than the poison we know as alcohol. That's a nice one. Yeah, that mixer affected my hearing too when it broke. I'm still reeling from that experience just now. That really upset me. Yeah, I'm pissed because I don't really want to lose any more of my hearing, and here I am running it at full volume on you. I had it tuned down here, but it was still full volume. And it's like finally my ears are starting to recover. Crazy. I started getting a wax buildup in my ear when the jets first started flying over all the time. It's good you muted it. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get rid of it. I'm sorry I ran it at high volume. Yeah. Yeah, let me show you this article that will give you the story about the cyanide story. The government doesn't understand it, but tests show bootleg marijuana vapes tainted with hydrogen cyanide. What's really going on here is this story, and I wish I could connect the dots here for people. Basically, illegal weed and pesticides have become an issue. There's a problem with marijuana. It's called pesticides. Cannabis samples from shops and dispensaries have invariably been contaminated with fungicides and rodenticides. It's popularly believed that the legal cannabis solves one of the evils, chemical contamination. Legal weed doesn't mean clean weed. 2 or more commonly discovered compounds, including myclobutanol, a persistent fungicide used on grapes and sold under the trade name Eagle 20. It's been found to have negative effects on test animals. When myclobutanol is heated, it releases hydrogen cyanide. So a lot of these products that are made by others have this tainted in it, so whenever it's heated up, it passes from one menu to another and one derivative to another. So the derivatives have a higher concentration and just keep getting the cyanide every time they get heated. And you can't break down the THC and CBD unless you heat it. So the heating invariably creates the cyanide from this pesticide that's lingering inside of it. That's what's causing it. And here's a link to that story if you want to get it. Okay, we got a little clip from Scissor Fight. Good evening, Scissor Fight. I'm going to give you guys a link to this pesticide story. If you are not aware of it and you're buying weed and it's somehow tainted, you could variably be smoking a little cyanide. Yeah, maybe there was hydrogen cyanide in the vitamin E additive, maybe. But they're calling all vaporizers, now our Washington Governor, Jay Inslee, is going to be banning any e-vape cigarettes with fruity flavors in our area, and probably going to extend it to all e-vape. They're trying to get rid of anybody vaporizing. Okay, here's a story from Anaconda Malt Liquor. Let's take a look at what this is.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki, speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market.
And all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
I am here to speak for all generations to come.
That we'll be watching you.
I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard.
People are suffering. People are dying.
I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct. Every day, vanishing forever.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
I'm only a child and I don't have all the solutions. But I want you to realize, neither do you.
They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist.
You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring the salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back the forest that once grew where there is now a desert.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it.
You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
At school, even in kindergarten, you teach us how to behave in the world. You teach us not to fight with others, to work things out, to respect others, to clean up our mess, not to hurt other creatures, to share, not be greedy. Then why do you go out and do the things you tell us not to do?
And you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is.
Do not forget why you are attending these conferences, who you're doing this for. We are your own children. You are deciding what kind of a world we are growing up in.
How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight.
My dad always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night.
You are failing us.
You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I can't play that song, no. That was a bit much too, you know. I'm just like overwhelmed by that comparison. It's like they're recycling the same thing over and over again and trying to push their agenda. Wow, a naked couple has fallen to their deaths during a balcony sex romp after toppling over an edge of a third-floor wall following a house party. They apparently got so into having sex at the party that they literally fell to their death. A woman, 28 years old, mother, and her 35-year-old lover slipped over the edge of a wall while romping in Ecuador. Jeez. Tragic fall in Quito, Ecuador. They've left, she was a mother of an 8-year-old girl who's got to be found, got to take into family. And just today, I lost 5% of my hearing with white noise, and I'm sorry that that happened. Yeah, it's like, wow. I don't know, I'm just overreacting. Yeah, well, apparently some people really believe that sex is the cure to death. You know, so I believe that we would have played out the rest of that video if I wanted to. I'll play the whole video later. Well, a lot of people think that replicating is the key to, you know, eternal life. I don't know. It's kind of a lot of people want to just, you know, have a baby and replicate. But when you wonder how beautiful the world is when your child acts like that, you know, poor Greta, she's suffering so much from Asperger's syndrome. Breaking news, Democrats' treaty signed by Bill Clinton provides Trump solid ground to request assistance from Zelensky on the 2016 election of our Biden crime family. Good news. Okay, well, thanks for, you know, good news for Trump, but the problem is, yeah, if that's the case, yeah, the problem is, why did he hide it? Why did he put it on a private server? I'm listening to your request right now, Juan. What can I do for you? Yeah, why would he put it on a nationally secure server if it wasn't a national secure secret? The fact that he tried to hide the entire story shows it leads us to believe that he's continually obstructing justice. Why would he wait on this whistleblower story too? That's obstructing justice. So it's not so much the legal backing for him investigating corruption and telling a Ukraine leader he's going to give over $400 million or not, which is exactly what Joe Biden did. It's really, the real question is he's trying to go after Joe Biden doing the same damn thing. So you're trying to say that Joe Biden is guilty of this and that Trump is not guilty of this, even though he tried to do the same thing? And you're researching that same corruption that Joe Biden did, claiming anybody can do that now? So your own argument defeats the argument that Joe Biden did anything wrong. Your claim that the president has the ability to do this under Bill Clinton's treaty that he signed. So if that's the case, then Biden had every right to do the same thing. So really, this is not a lot about nothing, much to do about nothing. This is really a case of two corrupt people doing corrupt things and trying to cover their ass. Yeah, it's like number 2 or number 1. Should you go to the bathroom one way or the other, you know? Number 1 or number 2? Big, huge controversy going on there. Because they lost creativity and wanted us talking about servers again, how do we don't have privacy? I don't think they want to talk about that. That's not a mainstream media talking point, the fact that we've all been censored on YouTube and Facebook and they continue to use censorship techniques and get away with it. The two parties are never going to look at Mark Zuckerberg and his atrocities that he does. Even the Republicans don't seem to want to overturn that rock of Cambridge Analytica and say, what is this really about? The whole two-party system is in cahoots with the deep state, and so is Trump. He is their puppet. They've got all kinds of goods on him. They've got the simple fact that he's got all this money he owes Deutsche Bank. And we do know that we found this out recently, that Deutsche Bank underwrote the money, the loan that he got, with the Russian oligarchs backing it. Yeah, you didn't know the Russian oligarchs are backing $1 billion loan that Trump still has outstanding with Deutsche Bank. That's a significant amount of control that they have. And if what Mueller said was true, that he was blackmailed over the sex tape, and it just wasn't under his purview, 2 years ago, our president was blackmailed over the sex tape. What was he blackmailed for? All that was never turned, that rock was not turned over by our government. So the Democrats have a lot of work to do and very little time to do it. Taking a 2-week vacation right now doesn't look like they're going to do it. It looks to me like they're still going to kind of sit on their hands and talk about how serious these problems are. Or maybe this is just a diversion tactic. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll just drop the whole case after the Democrats realize they're chasing a red herring, and they're not going to find. See, you may have a point. You Republicans may have a point. I mean, it may go nowhere. Don't doubt that at all. Because so far we've seen it go nowhere, and so far Donald Trump's been getting away with unbelievable atrocities and acting like nothing's been done. And you Republicans continue to act like he's perfectly fine. It's all a Russian hoax. Yet there's more than enough evidence he got lots of money from Russian oligarchs to get elected. And he even knew they were rigging the election to get elected. So ostensibly, you Republicans are okay with Donald Trump cheating with the Russians' help to get elected. That's why I don't believe that you're good Americans. You've turned your back on this country and sided with Russia. And you Democrats are no different. You continue to allow Nancy Pelosi to have her side deals going on and behind our backs with corporate America, and letting Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton profit big time off of the Haitian situation, and then not even get called to task about the John Podesta and Hillary Clinton uranium oil deal with the Ukraine, or excuse me, the nuclear material deal with Ukraine for uranium. Thank you. What will I do to Russia? Nothing. I don't consider Russia at fault here. I consider the Zionist elitists that are running Russia at fault. Russia has been controlled by the mob since the Soviet Union fell. We all know that. The Russian mob and the U.S. mobs control our country too, so this isn't any big revelation. The fact that you don't realize that and you continue to vote two parties as though they're going to do something is really the kind of the joke of all. The American people seem to be dumb-witted, unable to make a clear decision as to what to do. And starting a third party clearly takes a hell of a lot more than just talking about it. So what will I do to Russia? Nothing. I'm not going to penalize them. I'm not looking to hate other countries and start more wars. I want to mitigate war, and I want to look toward a common ground solution on nuclear non-proliferation, which Trump can't even pronounce. Trump stands there and he won't even say the word nuclear non-proliferation. He can't. He's unable to speak those words. He calls it the big word thing. We're going to talk to Kim Jong-un about that big word thing. That's what he said. That's your president speaking. And you think this guy's representing you? He stole my ideas to get elected. And you have the audacity to come in here and act like Trump is a good guy and he's stopping the deep state? Trump is controlled by the deep state. He's owned. It's very obvious. Well, I think that, frankly, I don't think the Democrats can win or lose with impeachment. Unless they're able to fully impeach him in the House, this won't help their campaign at all. If they were able to fully impeach him in the House and have enough legitimate things to line up in front of our face, the Democrats might actually benefit the 2020 race and could win it. But they've got a league of a bunch of jerks sitting there, money panderers, just looking for a free ride. Kamala Harris, total liar. Elizabeth Warren, Not only she's a liar, but she's a perjurer. She perjured her statement when she said she was a Cherokee Indian and committed fraud. She should be charged. Beto O'Rourke, that guy was a robber, a criminal, before he became a popular name in your lexicon of God knows what. Here's his criminal record. Beto O'Rourke, check this out. He was arrested in the 1990s for burglary and DWI and driving while intoxicated. He also got into a hit and run accident where he had a .134 alcohol level and tried to run from the scene of the crime where he nearly killed people. And little did you know that he wrote a story about wanting to murder children. That's the best the Democrats can put out. I'm telling you, folks, we got a real need for a third party. I've never seen such a trail of scumbags and rip-off artists from the Democrats and the Republican Party. No Lithuanian folk tunes. No, they'll monetize me in Lithuania. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't play those, but if you want, we can play you a good polka later on, you know. How about a little sample of one, just to appease you? All right, how's that? Feel better? That makes me feel so much better, those Lithuanian folk songs. David, did you hear about California government sending warrant cops and professional fowl killers into yards to keep people from raising healthy chickens? I had no idea. It doesn't surprise me, the communist state of Washington or California. Yeah, killing the chicken growers. No one's allowed to raise your own chickens and your own eggs in California. I find that believable. It's just bizarre. Hey, you got another link. Second 9/11 and WW3 predictive programming. 153 News has it. Thank you, man. Oh, it's got a 30-minute video tonight. Good. That'll be good. From Knowledge is Power. Excellent. I really enjoy your links. They're always good, especially 153 News. Well, this is predictive programming. I showed you this earlier in the pre-show. Matt Groening must have been involved with the Illuminati to do this. Simpsons did show an actual movie that predicted this exact thing with Donald Trump and the little spokeswoman. Is that Madge? I think it's Madge. Yeah. Anyway, Springfield Cleans Up Act talks about, environmental cleanup, little girl. And then here she is, Greta, and then standing right behind him in that photo op. No one knows why Donald Trump went to that meeting, too. They did not expect him to arrive at the summit, the climate summit. They said he's not going to appear because he doesn't believe in climate change. But he made an attempt to, he actually was there with Pence, sitting there. Madge, okay, is Homer's wife. Okay, well, I don't know who that, I don't watch The Simpsons. Hey, thank you, Juan. Take care. Sleep well, man. Yeah, but this is amazing. I mean, how could this be possible unless Matt Groening was controlled by the Illuminati and that was ordered to do this and put this in, and they already picked their winner with Donald Trump. They missed their mark, though. They were going to get a blonde guy. They just didn't think it was me. That's their mistake. They actually put their faith in a guy who copied me and took my ideas in the 2016 election and got behind a guy who looked a little like me, but they didn't get behind the right guy. They got behind the wrong guy, a guy who's corrupt, who's easily controllable, who has all kinds of personal debt. That's Donald Trump. But it's interesting, Matt Groening, like we said earlier, had a fungus growing in his feet when Virginia Roberts Giuffre claimed that she actually had to give him a massage when she was a sex prostitute for Jeffrey Epstein. So Matt Gruening actually went to Orgy Island and had Giuffre claim that she wanted to vomit because she saw his yellow fungus growing on his feet and she couldn't believe how horrible it was, and she had to give him a foot massage. You see how dark this world is that you're looking at? That they have the ability to somehow predict what they're going to do 20 years later? I would have vomited too. I felt bad that Virginia Roberts Giuffre didn't get any criminal charges passed against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's assistant. And they dropped the criminal case. I doubt the civil case is going to go forward. And I really believe that the government is covering up a tremendous amount with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think it's a question mark. I think it's a fact that we did see Jeffrey Epstein alive on Orgy Island 20 days after he allegedly died in that prison cell. So this is the famous picture Vigilant Citizen has on his website. Yeah, this actually was taken August 30th by a guy named Rusty Shackelford. But this was photographed the day, 20 days after he allegedly was taken off the island. I mean, basically hauled away, allegedly dead. Now the photograph is a little bit better as you get closer with better technology, but yeah, strange things are happening. I'm going to give you this link if you want to read about it. So there's more than enough evidence that what Acosta said, Labor Secretary Acosta, former Labor Secretary, that he had to back off on the first charges against Jeffrey Epstein in 2007. He was told that Epstein was part of the intelligence community. Yeah, it's not a prediction when it's orchestrated. That's a good point, great God. It was a foreshadowing of an orchestrated event. I don't live on Orgy Island. I doubt anybody on this island would ever have an orgy. Although I take that back. Yeah, I was approached one time. I used to do videography in my area. I ran a business, and I was contacted by this guy right before we started this effort. And he called me on the phone, and he said that his wife and he were, they wanted to make videos, plumper videos. And my phone number was in the phone book. And he called me up. He said, yeah, he wanted to make plumper videos with his wife. Yeah, it's like, I don't do porno. He said, yeah, well, it's just a private thing. Me and my friends and my wife want to do these plumper videos. It's like, really? Well, why don't you get a video camera and do it yourself, man? I couldn't believe I was getting called. A professional videographer, you're getting called by somebody to make a porn in their house. So I guess there's something going on the island. I just don't know where it is. Plumper videos. No thanks. That's one of the reasons why I quit my business. I'd get calls from people wanting to make plumper videos. What are plumper videos exactly? Anyone know? You're experts. We also revealed that George Soros' top aide is working directly with this young girl as her handler. This woman with a circle over her head is Luisa Marie Neubauer, a 23-year-old German climate protection activist. She supports the implementation of Agenda 2030. And she belongs to a far-left organization called One Foundation. According to Deutschland Kurier, Luisa Neubauer, she is the youth ambassador of One. It's all connected. It's financed by wealthy liberals, including Bono, Bill and Melinda Gates, and George Soros. So this woman right here is the handler of this Greta Thunberg, and she's supported by people like Bono. You know, Bono's cutting a new book. You know what he got on the pre-writing of this book? $4.5 million guaranteed payment for this book he's writing. I know how to edit video, yeah. I've done a lot of video edits. I almost burned out on video edits. I'm trying to get back into it, but it was really quite difficult over the years. I've made commercials for people. But imagine getting a call on your business line to make a plumper video. Yeah, I think that was it for me. Yeah, people join fringe parties and organizations to means to gain power, wealth, and legitimacy, yeah. They don't care two craps about any of it. You know, I've been to enough conventions to know that there are a lot of people who pretend to actually care about the environment, like Greta. I went to a Beyond Oil event in Microsoft campus and met, a bunch of industrial leaders that were polluters. They made pollution all the time. They just wanted to be more green. They wanted to sound like they were green friendly. Greta is fake. We played her without, unadulterated, without a script in front of her. Greta had no script, and she pretty much sounded completely stultified, unable to move. She couldn't even respond. Without that script, she couldn't do a thing. I don't remember that. No, it wasn't a big memorable moment in my life. I don't do Dairy Queen because it has corn syrup in it, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, I avoid all the ice creams because of that. It's genetically modified corn syrup.
It's a proven fact that these
If you can find an ice cream, an organic ice cream with sugar in it, you're better off. But they're finding even sugar is bad for you, in high quantities. No, I just gave up my addiction to ice cream. I had one. Yeah, I used to go to soda fountains when I was in New York. Yep. I'm not necessarily anything you say. We've talked about that. I'm not a practicing Ashkenazi Jew. No, that's a lie. I don't hate Ashkenazis. I mean, look at what the Jewish elite have given Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, all that money to control the world. That's why I hate them. But not all Ashkenazis, just ones that are greedy, like the Nazis. A new unpatchable iPhone exploit could allow permanent jailbreaking on hundreds of millions of devices. Wow, that's a serious technological flaw, isn't it? Wow. I would have said, sure, Donald Trump couldn't possibly be taking orders from Russia, but Trump wouldn't reveal any notes from his interviews with Vladimir Putin, not one. And there's a trail of money from Putin and the oligarchs into Trump's pocket through the NRA. Maria Butina had Russian oligarchs fund NRA, and they gave money to Donald Trump. That's a fact. Now the NRA won't even answer any of these questions. They won't even make a statement. It's strangely silent, and I understand the NRA is looking at possible bankruptcy. After making a $30 million donation to Trump and not answering about any of this Russian involvement, and now they're trying to talk about bankruptcy, that sounds a little suspicious to me. The newly announced iOS exploit could lead to a permanent unblockable jailbreak on hundreds of millions of iPhones, according to researcher Axiom X, who discovered it. Dubbed Checkmate, the exploit is a boot ROM vulnerability that could give hackers deep access to the iOS devices on a level that Apple would be unable to block or patch out with a future software update. That would make one of the biggest developments in the iPhone hacking community in years. This is serious. Apple doesn't need another failure. Yeah, did you hear that they're opening up their own channel? Yeah, they're going to create a Netflix like channel. Yeah, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, I'm avoiding it. It's in ketchup. You got to make sure it's like Heinz makes Heinz Simply ketchup that has regular sugar in it. You got to watch it in ketchup too. Yeah, and it's in almost all juice drinks, high fructose corn syrup. So you got to avoid it everywhere. Okay. You like mint chocolate chip? Yeah, I used to be addicted to ice cream. I loved it. Yeah, I couldn't not have a gallon of ice cream. Even when I found out corn syrup was in it, I was still like, yeah, whatever, you know. And then I realized I was getting headaches from having too much sugar in my system, called hyperglycemia. It's pre-diabetes is what it is. Luckily, I got control ahead of any diabetes. Because once you get on that road of pre-diabetes, then you go to the first stage and the second stage, and it's a disaster. Yeah, I knew a guy that consumed a half a gallon of ice cream a day, and he got diabetes within about 2 years. It's almost a guaranteed pathway to diabetes. So that's a problem. Well, the first step toward losing weight is actually, thank you for admitting you're fat. The first step towards losing weight is actually take charge of your everything that goes in your mouth. You are in charge of your mouth. Whatever goes in there is your responsibility. Your pie hole is under your domain. Well, okay, admitting it to yourself is the first admission, but whatever goes in your mouth is leading to this problem. Yeah, you have to take responsibility for what goes in your mouth. Seize the mouth muscles. And when you open them and take in that tasty item that you just can't have enough of, you're at fault. Yeah. Well, yeah, you may eat sugar all the time and no diabetes, but the thing they're finding out about sugar is it's actually a type of, it's poisonous to the body in high doses. And they've kept this from the American people, from the whole world, for years. They recently found out that sugar in corn syrup and sugar in juice drinks, like juice cocktails, actually contribute to pancreatic problems. And pancreatic disorders, they're now drawing a loop between pancreatic disorders and high sugar drinks. Right. So even if you took sugar enemas or colonics, that would cause an invariable problem in your colon. It's kind of like a mild poison. It's so tasty, we abuse it. Studies in gerontology have found that if you consume less sugar, you live longer. If you stay away from sugar for a short time, you don't crave it as much. I agree. As a kid, I would have these jawbreakers, these big, huge things, and I'd have them in my mouth for hours as a kid. It's like, yeah, you get plenty of sucrose there. And I tried the little candies that I ate a few of them as a kid. I will admit that. But gradually I got away from hard candy completely and just started getting into chocolate, and then dark chocolate, and then ice cream. Then I got away from ice cream completely now, and I just have a little bit of dark chocolate. And I do eat cereal with some sugar in it, but usually organic cereal, whole grain cereal. Now with oats, you need to worry about oats, because even though oats are a non-GMO product, it's used as a cover crop for a lot of other various dangerous chemicals-ridden crops. And oftentimes the oats soak up the pesticides and herbicides that are in the ground around it. So that's why a lot of oats have been found to have Roundup in it. Now, so you have to really look for organic oats when buying your rolled oats for morning breakfast. Be sure you buy organic only. Otherwise, you're eating glyphosate in some form or another, Roundup. No. Fact is, sugar is put on kids like candy is just everywhere. And to this day, kids are just constantly eating candy. Hey, you got another one for me, huh? Cool. Here's the new one. Biden, 2020. Trump, 2020. No. Try America's Third Party. That is hilarious. That is so funny. Yeah, we should do that on the back. It's going to be hard to engineer that at Spreadshirt. I did set up a couple Spreadshirt accounts, so I did do Scissor Fight's idea. A POTUS Indeed. POTUS with weed is a POTUS Indeed. Let me go to America's Third Party and click in the link there and see if I'll set it up for you. Okay, so we go to America's Third Party's site, and then I go to the store, and I click on the t-shirt. Well, here's our sign too. We got our sign up ready to go. 2020, I put it out there. That's ready to order. That's $26 if you want to order a sign there. If you want to just print up a sign, you can actually capture the front page of our site. This page right here is completely printable. You can cut it out, just right click on it, save it as a file, as a JPEG, and send it to Office Max or Office Depot, and they'll print it up on color cardstock. Be sure to ask for cardstock. And then laminate it, and you've got yourself a 11 by 15 sign, under $6. But if you want to order the sign, we've got that going, down there in the you go to the store first, and then click on this sign right here. And this is a full-on stand-up sign. That's it's $14.99. I'm sorry, but you have to actually. This product could expose you to chemicals. Oh gosh. I didn't realize there was a warning on it. Well, if you want a non-toxic sign, yeah, you might want to go with the other one. But that's our official sign. And then here is a t-shirt where we sell a lot of our t-shirts. And we don't make a lot of money on this. This is just a way of promoting what we do. For some reason, I'm not seeing. Yeah, the other signs are gone. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot this. It's not opening up my store properly. Huh. Well, it's good I checked. Okay, I'll get to this later tonight. Yeah, I did post a couple of new signs, but that's weird. Yeah, they didn't post for some weird reason. That's very strange. Okay, I'll work on it. We're not in a situation where we have to forgive each other. Yeah, we have our differing opinions. Everyone is entitled to their differing opinions about everything. Yeah, it's not like he did anything to deserve forgiveness simply because, he was very angry. He felt that we were talking about him behind his back, and we were. And I admitted that. Fructose Friday, yeah. We could do Freeloader Friday. Would you want Freeloader Friday? We could go into the... Mr. Right. We could talk about the $500 a month plan. Yeah, Freeloader Friday, here we are. No, I'm not going to unban all. That's ridiculous. You'd have any idea how many people would be coming in here if I unbanned all? The reason why women like chocolate is because it's full of magnesium. And that's something they lose when they have their menstrual period. Freeloader Friday, yeah. So we got $500 a month going to anybody who's not currently collecting Social Security or disability. Isn't that great? We're going to legalize marijuana. That's another thing we support. Yeah. I have a very important message, Dave. Yeah. I want to get this out now. Absolutely. It is not a drug, it's a leaf. Yeah. I agree. Arnold and I are on the same page there. Yeah, what else can we give you? We have lots of things that we can give you. Legal weed is the big thing here. Yeah, that's a big plus to getting a third-party presidential candidate on track for 2020. We've got some other cool things, like our mobile medical unit we'll implement through the VA. We'll be able to have this type of health care in every major city in the country within a year. That's a very strong, solid need. And we can offer generic medicine at a low cost to people who are suffering from pre-diabetes or pre-heart disease. Things that normally are very costly medicines will become very cost-effective for people. And you'll be able to get those at the back of every mobile medical unit. We'll have a Pillomatic in the back along with selling recreational marijuana. Another way to finance the growth of this operation. So it pays for itself. Again, hybrid capitalism. Yeah. We will be able to help the American people get ahead financially by offering a flat tax of only 10% on any income over $50,000. This is a solid way to get your act together. If you're making less than $50,000, you won't be taxed at all under this plan. That's the plan I'll have to pitch to Congress to get them to go along with it. Ironically, rich people like this idea too, because it puts up less upfront costs for tax attorneys and tax accountants and more downstream savings. And investors overseas will like to spend $50,000 or make $50,000 in America tax-free. It'll bring dollars into this country. Kind of like the way investors are investing in Dublin, Ireland now, taking away London's banking community. People want to invest in Dublin because there is no tax on the corporate income there. But this offers a 10% tax on anything over $50,000, which gives people a chance to just see if they can make money in America for $50,000. It'll bring a lot of investment into this country. That's a good one. What do we offer? We want to bring the troops home and the Fed. Obviously, ending the Federal Reserve is a Ron Paul thing. That End the Fed was his book. But we believe that they're both connected. And the Federal Reserve is kind of the pull the World Bank is using on us to push us into wars around the world. Well, if we end the Federal Reserve, or at least phase it out over time, our connection to the World Bank becomes less of an imperative, and we can begin to disentangle ourselves from foreign wars. Again, this is cutting-edge stuff. The Democrats, Republicans won't even address these issues. I will. What do you get with a third party? You're taking on the New World Order. You're stopping the New World Order in their tracks and pulling the plug out from under their feet so that they can't operate. They use the two parties to control them by bribing officials, and that's how they've been building up the political corruption machine that they control right now. Yeah, a lot of pharmaceutical companies overcharge the public, so Saudi. It's terrible. Yeah, it's really bad. Most of the drugs you get today are way overpriced, in America especially. Giuliani canceled a paid appearance at the Kremlin-backed summit in Armenia. It didn't look too good for his biased perspective. Looked too bad. He abruptly canceled his scheduled appearance in Armenia next week. Yeah. Mr. Giuliani. My fellow Americans, I am not a crook. My fellow Americans. Remember Tricky Dick? Now, who couldn't forget him? My fellow Americans, I am not a crook. Hey, it's not a far off man. I'm not that far away. All right. Thank you. 2-day conference is canceled in Armenia. You know, they are selling organic cheeseburgers at Costco. Yeah, I had a double cheeseburger at Costco. This summer I was at Charlottesville, Virginia, and I had an amazing boiga. Here it is. It's the $5 Costco cheeseburger. It's organic. All organic ingredients. Yeah, there it is on the menu right there. Pinterest. Pretty good, huh? I tried it. It was very tasty. You can barely see it in the distance there. But yeah, it was fun. So what else do we offer, third-party offers? Let's see. I'm proposing a 24/7 cancer cure center for people with cancer who obviously need low-cost drugs to fight the disease, and a team of scientists working around the clock in 3 shifts a day to try to get to the bottom of what is truly causing cancer. After all these years, we shouldn't take any time off. David, are you going to have your old shows for us to watch on Netflix? You won't need to. You can go right now to YouTube and go to the Cool Rock site. Right at the top of our site, the button YouTube link, that takes you to all our shows for free. You don't have to worry about Netflix. We'll just use YouTube as long as they'll keep us up. The last thing I want to do is monetize this. This has been a non-stop free operation since the beginning. There is no closed captioning on my YouTube videos that I know of. Yeah, I don't have any ability to do that. It can be done later. Yowza. Yeah, I hope she's okay. I told her, give me a call if you're going to be really late. So she will. She's probably on her way. But then again, a girls' night out could be till 11 o'clock. You never know. It's kind of hard to break away and have when you're having fun. That's how it is with me every night. I can't break away from the show. I'm having so much fun. I literally stay in the show till 2 in the morning. Yeah. I close the show now at 1 o'clock because it's just too much. It's just too much to. I have to upload the video from the show because it's no longer something I can do live. I have to upload it. It's very time consuming, and I have to wait for the upload to finish before I actually go to bed. So. But tonight I'm going to do a little quick edit, get rid of that white noise, because the last thing I want somebody to do is listen to white noise during the show. So it's not too hard to do that. Okay. Okay, this story I didn't cover yet. Democrats refuse to include gang members in the red flag laws. These red flag laws I'm against. Because they're just too far-reaching, and they take away your right to bear arms. And that alone is enough to disqualify them. Donald Trump doesn't see it that way. He actually agrees with the red flag laws and supports Lindsey Graham, one of the architects of these things. I don't. I won't take away your rights to bear arms under any circumstances. I've changed my positions over the years because I've had to adapt to what America really wants. Anybody who poses a threat, yeah. An accusation is sufficient to hold your guns. No court appearance by the accused or confrontation of witnesses is required. There's no presumption of innocence. To regain their rights, the person accused has to prove they are not a danger, and they may incur thousands of dollars in court costs to regain the property that was taken from them without due process. This whole thing of the red flag laws is ridiculous, and now the Democrats won't impose anything on gang members.
It's not a good idea, but if
we'll play that tonight.
But if you're going to pass a law like that, you might want to apply it to, say, gang members who are responsible for the overwhelming majority of gun murders in this country. But they don't want that. Congressman Ken Buck is a Republican from Colorado. He introduced an amendment that would apply a red flag to those gang members on databases. But the Democrats voted it down. Amazingly, Congressman Buck joins us. Now, Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So, first, tell us why you introduced this. Why would you want a red flag law, if we pass one, to apply to gang members?
First, I don't want to pass one, but second,
right, exactly.
If it passes, it should apply to the most dangerous people in America, the most dangerous people with guns in America.
Yeah, I think that anybody who's a gang member does pose a risk. It's ironic that they don't want to include it. That's why I don't think we should have any of it. Okay, so you won't get gun control with me. That's a good thing. You know, believe me, I would probably chaperone Sarah everywhere she goes if I had a choice. But I can't do that. I've got to do a show. And ironically, the show takes precedent over me chaperoning Sarah. What other things are we going to do? We're going to price up plastic packaging. There's so much abuse going on with plastic waste in America. We are going to make it more difficult to actually get free plastic everywhere you go. That's something the Democrats haven't committed to yet. We're going to make regular, good old-fashioned paper bags the thing of the future. They're recyclable and renewable. Every reason to keep that going. We want to create an infrastructure bank offering 2% loans to U.S. businesses, hiring U.S. citizens at a living wage. And this is my way of bridging the gap that the Democrats, Republicans have over the minimum wage laws. This offers companies that get 2% loans a chance to actually get that loan as long as they hire U.S. citizens at $15 an hour. And they have to hire people. They can't just take the loan and do capital spending only. They have to have a certain number of people that they hire with that money. We'll set up a ratio. Now, some of that money could be used for capital investment, but labor investment is very important to this infrastructure plan. We want to get people jobs, at least those that want to work. And those that don't want to work don't have to worry about taxes, and they will get $500 a month just to live in a tent somewhere. So all these ideas are just making more and more sense the more I look at them, and that's why I still believe that our book, Hybrid Capitalism, is still very cutting edge. Hey, Ivan. Thanks for coming in. You got banned from some room for calling Cortez a Zionist scum? Wow. I'll be darned. Anyway, new ideas, different ways of looking at the things. Yeah, we got a lot of things going on. Legalization of marijuana, very important. That's probably one of the more important front-ordered things that we want to do. Flat tax of 10% is a good thing for people who don't want to pay a lot of taxes. But all this comes under the heading of a third-party rework of our government and our economy. It can't happen quickly, though. We have to get congressional support on some key issues. But I can still start the Homestead Renewal Plan right away. I can still build the mobile medical units at the VA within the purview of the president's power. We can get them out and have them serve everybody, including illegal aliens if need be. Anybody who's sick could use the mobile medical units, and we will cover people who have no money. You will have to sign an affidavit saying you're broke and put your fingerprint down. Other than that, we'll be able to pay your bill. And the bill won't be very big either. Medicaid will cover it. Whereas right now, Medicaid is just sucking dry your tax dollars. For You Money, Mark just confirmed, thanks For You Money. Mark just confirmed he's putting the other channel on top, so he is censoring us. Yes. My show does not take precedent over Sarah's safety. Sarah is an independent woman who takes her own risks when she leaves the home every day when she goes to work. I can't be with her day and night. It's impossible. But she's with friends and she should be fine. I'm not worried. No, thank you. You don't mention the channel because Mark has put together a channel to compete with me on this network, and he purposely puts it ahead of us. We are being censored by the very people we're trying to go after here. Mark even admitted getting money from Putin directly. Now, he wants us to think it's a joke. I don't think it's a joke at all. I think he really is getting oligarch money to stop me because I'm the only person out there who's taking on the big issues. And I'm the one who's been pushing for impeachment from the very beginning. I'm the one who exposed Trump and all his corruption with the Russians during the pre-election period. I've been leading the entire series of questions about his misuse of power as well. So there's no way that Mark or the oligarchs would be able to stop me because the message is out. The cat's out of the bag. We also rip the Ocasio a new one. I don't believe she has a degree in economics at University of Massachusetts. I think that she's lying. I would be hard-pressed to believe that she could ever get a degree in economics with her lack of knowledge of economics. So I'm concerned about that. I'm also concerned about the wave of corruption that Hillary brought the Democrats. And I'm more than willing to, go out against the Democrats because they literally targeted me in the last election. When I ran locally in 2014 for a state representative, they completely slandered me and libeled me in the news, made all kinds of accusations that I was a racist. I've never said a racial slur in my life. We don't have to impeach 2/3 majority in both House of Congress, Piper, Salem. We can actually get them to agree. Once they realize a third party is taking off at the center, both parties are going to be wondering if a third party will destroy them locally. Much like the Tea Party created a big, huge rift in a lot of states. It turns out the Tea Party wasn't even a legitimate party. We're closer to a legitimate party than they ever were. We've never filed a 501c4 application to be a nonprofit organization. We've always submitted our donations and spend outs every single quarter to the FEC. We're in 100% compliant with the FEC laws. So we're more than capable of launching this third party with your help, but without any donations coming in, it's thanks, Mad Dog. You made 2 donations last week. But without any big money coming in, we're just literally holding on with a shoestring on the internet. And we're able to do this thanks to the internet. Without that, we wouldn't even be known. No one would even know. You have to understand that I'm riding a very, very fragile wave. They're moving in. They paid Mark a lot of money to try to stop me. And he's purposely keeping people out of this chat room right now as we speak. Yeah, Jesse did okay. Jesse sold out, though. Jesse Ventura works for RT. He's a Russian Today employee now. I mean, if the Democrats and Republicans don't wake up to Russia's contamination in our election process, we have no other choice than we, the people, need to start this third party and keep Russia out of it. But clearly, they're threatened. Russia doesn't want a third party in this country. They want to control Donald Trump and whoever else the Democrats put out there. With Joe Biden's connection to Ukraine through Hunter and all these other people connected remotely, and with Donald Trump's connection to Russia, Foreign governments are literally controlling the Republican and the Democratic Party. You know, I haven't gone, I've tried tasting these meatless products. I'm not into soybeans, so especially genetically modified soybeans. Yeah, Jesse Ventura was a governor in Minnesota, no question about it. Yeah, he had a history, but he can't run again because he's living overseas and he works for RT. So give up on Jesse Ventura, please. I mean, if you're still hung up on Jesse Ventura becoming a president, good luck. Okay, here's the video about THC having some cyanide-related connection. And like I said, this connection is purely related to pesticides that are being used on marijuana, and the government's not taking a lead on this. I would if I legalized it.
In search of answers, we went to California, where you can buy THC cartridges both legally and on the black market. CannaSafe, one of the leading cannabis testing facilities in the nation, agreed to test both kinds, looking for contaminants, including vitamin E acetate, commonly used in skin care, which some researchers suspect may be causing the lung injuries. I bought 3 different brands of THC cartridges from legal dispensaries, and CannaSafe obtained 15 on the black market. Antonio Frazier says they found no contaminants in the legal cartridges. As for the illegal ones, did you find vitamin E?
Yes, we did. We found vitamin E in 13 out of 15 samples.
13 out of 15. And these are just randomly distributed around the...
Randomly acquired through the illicit market.
In fact, one of those samples, labeled as Exotic Carts Mars OG, was nearly 40% vitamin E. We also asked CannaSafe to test the 3 legal products for pesticides. None had any, but 10 illicit samples all came back positive, including 2 of the street brand Dank Vapes, which the CDC said today is a leading illicit brand.
They had some of the highest array of pesticides. One sample had 51 times the legal limit, and they also both contain vitamin E oil.
Even you, it sounds like, were pretty shocked by the results.
Yeah, all 10 included myclobutanol, which has got a trade name of Equal 20. And what's concerning with it is that when you heat it up, it can break down into other dangerous compounds, one being hydrogen cyanide.
Cyanide?
Yeah, cyanide. You certainly don't want to be smoking cyanide.
Frightening evidence. The black market is a dangerous market.
Yeah, and even if we put regulations together on growers, which we really need to do, because I'd like to see many more growers avoid this particular myclobutanol. If you want to know about myclobutanol, I did post information about it in the room. It is something that your recreational marijuana supply store should be aware of. Most people don't know, and yeah, I would recommend at least alerting them to this link right here from planetnatural.com/marijuana-pesticides. So the link goes to planetnatural.com/marijuana-pesticides. And they talk about myclobutanol being the culprit. It's used as a fungicide, Eagle 20 is, and when burned, it releases hydrogen cyanide, which may be the culprit of most of the vape problems that they're having with marijuana. As far as the fruity vapes and there's problems, those could be actually somebody sabotaging that product, forcing all the companies to lose their money. You know, who has the most to gain from all the new vaporizer laws that are being implemented? The answer is the cigarette company. So I would be investigating the cigarette companies and any trail of money between them and Donald Trump and the Democrats. We do know the Democrats are trying to get a lot of money right now from cigarette sales and taxes, and they've lost a lot. Michigan was down $7 billion. That's why they implemented the law right away. So they want more people smoking cigarettes, if you can imagine that. The world is upside down. I mean, you used to think the Democrats cared about, you know, people getting lung cancer and emphysema. No, they care more about a couple of odd incidences where a person has a vaporizer where they die. But they don't care about the 250,000 a year that die of lung cancer and emphysema from cigarettes. Crazy, huh? Yeah, and we heard about Joe Biden and his connection to the mobster Whitey Bulger's nephew and John Kerry's stepson, all getting cush deals, backdoor deals like Hunter did, to make money on a job he didn't even know anything about. He made $50,000 a month, Hunter did, when his dad was vice president of the United States. Talk about abuse. Now, I agree with Trump on this one, but I also think Trump didn't have the proper channels to go through to get this information about Biden, and he didn't follow the proper channels. But hey, we'll see this all sorted out in court, because it's definitely moving toward impeachment now. Yep. Yeah, since when does the government care about pesticides? It would care under my leadership, I'll tell you that, Misanthropy. I have such a strong feeling about pesticides and herbicides that I want to help build up the soil in America. That's one of the reasons I created a campaign I talk about on Fridays, or on Wednesdays rather, called the Reagrification Plan. And that's designed to get farmers better soil and to clean the soil of dangerous residues of nitrates and glyphosate. There's a natural curative for the soil that if we implement it nationwide aggressively, we could get our soil back to good health in about 2 to 5 years. But we're seeing a devastation of the basic ground that produced the breadbasket of America. And it's turned our country into a non-producer. We've lost production in 2% every year since Obama and Trump became president. We've gradually seen a decline in our agriculture. You got an important link from China? China. Yeah, this is an issue that I would immediately tie to the trade war that Trump has started. Moving on from reagrification, yeah, let's move on there. This is China's accused of harvesting tens of thousands of organs to serve a thriving global market. Wow. A lot of people are protesting this, yeah. This is just one picture. Story continues. Wow. This is serious when they're literally taking their people off the street and using their organs. Yeah, if we really want to restore trade with China, we're going to have to put human rights on the table. Trump doesn't even talk about it. There were stitches at the throat area. Okay, barely 2 months after Han Junjing from Beijing was imprisoned for practicing the spiritual discipline of Falun Gong, he died in captivity. When his family was briefly allowed to see his body more than a month after he died, his daughter says they discovered it had been sliced open. There were stitches at the throat area, used very thick black threads. The incision extended down until covered by the clothes, said his daughter. United Nations event on forced organ harvesting on Wednesday highlighted this guy. Her uncle and other relatives managed to unbutton her father's clothes. They found that the incision was all the way through the throat to the abdomen. When they pressed the abdomen, they found that his abdomen was stuffed with hard ice. Her father's organs had all been harvested. China has repeatedly denied all accusations of organ harvesting and claimed it would stop using organs from executed prisoners in 2015. But though Han Guingquan died in 2004, evidence suggests that practice is still ongoing. There are far more organ transplants needed than the official organ donors, and the readily available supply of harvested organs is the basis of a massive market. That's serious. They say organ harvesting contributes to a $1 billion organ market in China. Yeah, you know, I'm actually beginning to wonder if the trade war is such a bad thing. You know, I think Trump started it for personal reasons and mistakes he'd made with Iran, but I'm beginning to wonder if trade with a nation that continues to do this is really in our best interest. Let's not forget that Richard Nixon was extremely willing to meet up with Mao Zedong, and he opened the door to trade with China. A guy who we virtually pushed out of office was the guy that opened that door, and then Bill Clinton, the other guy that we almost pushed out of office, exploited that door and the opening. Remember the Lincoln bedroom and how he let it go to some Chinese financier of the Democratic Party? I can't answer ethical questions about people being paid back for their organs. I'm not. No, I can't answer that question. Okay, we have a link here from California's new pot rules violate the promise to small farmers. Let's see what this is. During last year's campaign for Prop 64, which made recreational marijuana legal for adults in California, proponents of the measure repeatedly argued that it would protect small marijuana farms and mom and pop cultivators, many who have been operating illegally for decades. But because the initiative barred the state from licensing any marijuana farm larger than 1 acre until 2023, or at least that's what voters were led to believe when they passed Prop 64 overwhelmingly. Nevertheless, a state agency has quietly, mystifyingly issued a rule that could circumvent the proposition and open the new state market to big weed. The 5-year head start for small farmers was a concession specifically designed to win support, or at least quell some of the opposition, from growers in Northern California Emerald Triangle, who worried that well-funded corporate cannabis interests would crush them right out of the gate. The delay in Prop 64 would give them time to get licensed under the new state regulatory regime and carve a toehold in the new legal marketplace for recreational pot. That's good. But it wasn't just farmers pushing for limits on the size and scale of marijuana growing sites. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom recommended in 2015 that the state limit the size and power of marijuana businesses and offer incentives for smaller operations. The goal, the commission report said, should be to prevent the growth of a large corporate marijuana industry dominated by a small number of players, as we see with big tobacco or alcohol industry. Interesting. Growers and industry watchers were shocked last month when the emergency regulations issued by the department did not limit the size of marijuana farms as expected. Instead, the rule allows applicants to seek an unlimited number of small farm licenses, each of which allows up to 10,000 square feet. In other words, a big operation that's already making drugs illegally would automatically be grandfathered in. Well, I'll be darned. I don't want people prosecuted for growing pot, though, in a state that's recreational. So I see the compromise. And big business in pot is why people have invested. So it's why the tobacco companies have invested in pot operations. They had a few lined up many years ago, but legalization is taking forever. I wouldn't doubt this has a lot to do with it, them wanting to get rid of the smaller growers. But, you know, if they were opening licenses to small growers and... Thanks. If they're opening these things up to people of all types, and as long as the door is open to small growers, I don't see how it's going to impinge on the growth of that industry. Yes, big growers can dominate industry and lower costs, but hey, so can small growers. And the market demand for lower cost weed, you know, remember last week I told you that you could buy an ounce of marijuana for $95 in the state of Washington, which is ridiculous. And, you know, years ago, an ounce of marijuana cost up to $600-700 in California. Now you can get it for $95. Well, now its price is even lower. They're down to $80 at local recreational supply stores. And, you know, growers continue to drop the price, which is exactly what the supply and demand curve expects. Bigger demand, lower cost. Shorter supply, bigger cost. So bigger demand, bigger production, win-win for everybody. Yeah. Good luck explaining that to corporate industrialists.
But basically, that person never saw the report, never saw the call, meaning never saw the call, heard something, and decided that he or she, whoever the hell it is, sort of like almost a spy. I want to know who's the person that gave the whistleblower, who's the person that gave the whistleblower the information, because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? With spies and treason. Right? We used to handle it a little differently than we do now.
That was a veiled threat he was making, obviously. Yeah. I got that link. Yeah, thank you for that one on South Park. I got that in the lineup tonight.
You want to witness some real, actual history? Back in the day, George and a few of the founding fathers did have hemp farms because they knew the meaning of hard work and integrity. But then our country did lose its way and began a war on drugs that was and still is just...
I can only play 23 seconds of that, so it doesn't in any way affect me. But I'll play more of it tonight, for sure. Definitely. Right on. We got the links coming in here. Okay, let me check that one from Latvian Girls Mole. Ukraine embassy says DNC operative reached out for information on Trump campaign in 2016. There you have it. The Democrats got caught doing the same thing they're accusing Trump of doing.
No collusion, no collusion. I have no idea when it's going to be released. Frankly, I told the House, if you want, let them see it. Let it come out. Let people see it.
After nearly 2 years, the Russia probe may finally be coming to a close, and in its place, an investigation into possible collusion between the Democrats and Ukraine in the 2016 election. So,
Well, good. I'm glad Fox is framing it this way. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for getting honesty back in politics, but I seriously doubt it's going to come this way. Yeah, the Democrats are going to have it thrown at him full bore. They should have known that with Biden, having his fingers in the cookie jar there, admitting that he did that whole thing, it would come down to an investigation. I'm just surprised it took this long, circuitous route, circumnavigating the subject. If Trump had been upfront about this and had William Barr process this publicly, that he was prosecuting Biden, that would have been more of a story. Now being told roundabout through the Democrats reveal that Trump has been misusing his office, that Trump is going after corruption in Ukraine, but many people believe that the whistleblower heard other things, and the transcript belies a deeper, more sinister directive of finding dirt on your opponent. Now Trump is being accused of the same thing that Trump is accusing Biden of. So it's basically one way, one hash. It's basically what goes around comes around. That's the best way to describe this. So we'll see if this turns back now on the Democrats and Trump can get any legitimacy to an investigation. But look at how fallible Devin Nunes has appeared to be. The Republican-led effort to impale Andrew McCabe and Strzok and all these others involved in rigging information and emails for Hillary and covering stories and releasing information to the media, which they're accusing Andrew McCabe of doing, that's not going anywhere at all. So it's highly unlikely that a probe into Biden's actions many, many years ago is going to go anywhere at all. It's only an attempt to deflect the Democrats' attack on Trump. So it depends on who gets ahead of this, because if the Democrats get ahead of this in the impeachment process, and Trump hasn't launched this case against Biden, it'll be a moot point. Trump will be impeached in the House, and then they'll be looking at that being a major mark on Trump's electability for 2020. So that's coming back. Yeah. That's going to come back to haunt Trump or the Democrats. It's kind of weird how this is all kind of coming full circle, isn't it? I'll play that video in its entirety a little bit later. But the Judicial Watch itself is suing Biden, or suing the State Department for records on the firing of Biden and the Ukraine prosecutors. So, and other fronts, the Republican-led Judicial Watch is pushing for this. Now, I don't think they'd admit to being Republican pundits, but they really are. So we'll see how that takes place. Yeah. Hey, Nathan. Yeah, I like Nathan hot dogs. Sure, I'm just not a big hot dog eater anymore. Staying away from that stuff. It's come to pass that hot dogs are, full of nitrates, and yeah, if you avoid nitrates, you're better off. I guess some of them, Hebrew National sounds like a good hot dog. So many of you are looking for this, I suppose. You don't get enough of it. I know. It's like the dollars aren't spending. You know, you go to the market now and you pay $9 for a slab of meat for your dinner. You might be able to feed 2 people with it. It's amazing how expensive life is getting. So you have to get more creative in cutting costs, and that means shopping at places which offer deep discounts on products. Yeah. I'm going to give you a little bit more of that discussion from Fox, and I'll be right back. Wrap things up.
These accusations make the same splash as the one against President Trump. Here to discuss, the chairman of the Committee to Defend the President, Ted Harvey. Ted, thanks for being here. In elementary and middle and high school, I like to go to the end of the book to see what the conclusion was. I did that on your notes, and the line you have here is, "Let's get ready to rumble." Why do you say that?
Well, I think that this whole Russia collusion conspiracy that the Democrats have been running with, that the mainstream media has been running with, is all going to come to an end here when the Mueller report comes out. But what really has been happening, I believe, is the greatest scandal in American history, is the way that the Obama administration, through the Justice Department, through the FBI, have been colluding with our enemies during the campaign to undermine Trump's campaign, and then once he was put in office, to undermine his administration. There is plenty of evidence to show that the Clinton campaign was actually colluding with the Russians. They were colluding with the Ukraine to try to benefit their campaign, but also to try to undermine Trump's campaign. We need to investigate that. Senator Graham has been on the floor of the Senate arguing that we need to investigate that. Let's investigate both campaigns and see exactly what happened. And I think what will come out is that the Hillary campaign has a lot of explaining to do.
Ted, is there any other explanation other than media bias for why the media completely ignores this Clinton imbroglio, if you will? If you read the Greg Jarrett book, it goes into extensive detail about what Clinton allegedly did and why the media didn't cover it. But then flash forward for the last 2 years, really no evidence on the Trump stuff, and yet every single newscast, multiple minutes, go into the Trump-Russia collusion allegations.
Okay, we got Sarah coming in the room to make a cameo.
All right,
You can
David's
sit
gonna-
there.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, give David a break. I know, I neglected my duties tonight. I went out with a couple of friends, so it was good. Pedro's half-brother's here. True Blue, hello. All the guests, hello. Hello, So Sadi. You try to keep your hot dogs on the shelves of every store at a price anyone can afford. What kind of hot dogs do you have? I'm not a... It's you, Nathan. Nathan's hot dogs? That's so funny, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan makes okay hot dogs, but I'm not a big hot dog fan, I have to say, Nathan. The fact that Nathan's are all beef are better, but... $2 days? I was here yesterday. Well, most of the time. Granted, I didn't come in at my 8 o'clock time yesterday. That's true. I can see it being 2 days because no, I don't like hot dogs. So yesterday I did give him a break at 6:30, but then I did not give him I only gave him one break because, well, and today I only gave him one break. That's good. You went to do errands. Errands are important. I went to go hang out with some friends tonight. I went to go hang out with some friends, which was good. Yesterday I was doing some paperwork. I was putting some tests in, and that's what like ran out of room yesterday. I was doing some work on the computer. Now I'm probably tired. I don't even know if I'll watch anything tonight, even though it's Friday night. And usually I do, like, say, oh, it's Friday, I can watch something. Yeah, that's true. A teacher's day is never done. Thank you, Froggy. Froggy says, thank you for everything you do. Yes, thank you for everything you do, too. This week we read about frogs. Well, we did Frog and Toad, and then, which is, Frog and Toad something all year, something like that. And then we also read Life of a Frog. And then I gave kids a test on both of those today. Check out a funny JPEG newsflash. Okay. For you. That is pretty hilarious. Spartacus. You don't like... Why are the Rothschilds suing Gnome? Probably because they're not controllable and they want to control something. Maybe? Do you think that's it? Do I have Life of Princess also? Well, I do have something about Pretty Pink Princess or something. Oh. They've fallen foul of a patent held by Rothschild's Patent Imaging. So they're suing it because of some patent that they filed. You didn't like any tests, any days, you failed them all, I'm sorry. Well, I gave him a quiz, which I didn't give him probably enough time on, math quiz, but I think I gave enough kids the time on it. But some kids, some kids I could have given them all the time in the world. They still would just be looking at their paper. if I don't give a quiz, I don't really feel like I know what they know and what they don't. Oh. When you when you discovered females, you started to flunk. Yeah, that happens. Because you wanted to maybe impress the girls by flunking. I guess there weren't a lot of girls out there like me that liked guys that didn't flunk. Huh. That's interesting, misanthropy. Okay, Nathan. How many Nathan's hot dogs do you eat? I had a cousin named Ethan. Well, a step cousin? Sorry. Last night was okay, but the night before I did not get a good night's sleep. Oh, I'm sorry. They didn't care about your grades. You were great at sports. Did you get your diploma? Did you get a diploma? That's good. How's life for you now? Are you doing well? Yes, good. I'm glad life is going well for you now. I think I think there's a reason they call it senioritis for me. That's when it really kicked in, like, I just didn't want to do as much school. But I still got a Presidential Academic Fitness Award. I've gotten quite a few awards over the years. I'm a good person. That would be awesome. He's already got me, but if he won more, that would be great for him. America is the best one. How the propaganda for in the U.S. to not pollute our rivers and streams? I guess that's working. Is that what you're saying? China has such polluted rivers because they think the answer to pollution is dilution, so they put it in the rivers, even though that's not the answer. It just causes more problems. Oh, you say America makes other countries sound worse than they really are. And you would say that about, like, the Amazon fire. That the Amazon fires have been going on for many years, and it's just that the propaganda of, like, oh no, the Amazon's on fire. Well, wait.
I'll be right there.
Doesn't that happen every year? And Okay, take your time. Oh, that's a good point, Space Shuttle. Is there a link to americasthirdparty.com on my Twitter account? Oh, God. There you go. Again, telling me how I could be better at social media, which I appreciate. I'm not going to be any for that. I'm going to be like, oh yes, I should take that advice and do something about it. They made up the story about the Amazon on fire so they wouldn't talk about the California fires. That's a good point.
Okay, I'll take over.
Okay.
Thank you. Get some rest. You must be tired from all the work and having fun and enjoying your friends. And
yes, all that.
All right. Yeah, so Saudi can talk about his life.
I get it. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna take these in the other room. You're welcome, Froggy. Yeah, it's getting there. A little bit. A little cold.
Yeah, they said a cold spell is coming to our area.
It was really raining.
Yeah, the rain is the first step. Yeah. Sarah, Froggy thanks you for having patience and teaching kids. Yeah, it hasn't really gotten cold here on the island. We're not experiencing what the people in the Cascades are experiencing, but yeah, it's starting to turn a little earlier than expected. They're seeing colder temperatures at an earlier stage in Washington, and I guess it's true in Idaho and Montana. Wow. So a lot of stuff kind of hanging out there on a limb regarding the Ukrainian involvement with Trump and Biden. Yeah, it's strange. The Democrats are kind of walking into a snake pit with accusations of Trump doing the same thing Biden looks like he did. It's going to be very difficult to navigate that route. If this is the basis for the impeachment currently, the Democrats have waited a hell of a long time and come up with some pretty lame excuses to start impeachment when there's more than enough evidence out there of cheating during the election and misuse of power, which are the criteria for impeachment. So it just shocks me the Democrats are using this as their tool. It's kind of sad, really. Yeah, I'd like to see a further prosecution of Barack Obama lying about being married to a woman, when we find out that Michelle is clearly a transsexual, just like Joan Rivers said before she was executed by her doctor. Yeah. I just think that we're so close to the 2020 election that we're almost it's becoming absurd to think that we should pursue an impeachment at this late stage. But if the Democrats don't win something, they're going to lose the 2020 election to Donald Trump. And if Donald Trump doesn't win the 2020 election, he's going to be facing criminal charges in New York. Criminal charges, jail time charges. So that's kind of a catch-22 for him. And if the third party doesn't get any exposure at all, like we haven't in the past 11 years, then they won't have a chance in hell of ever fixing this problem. The country cannot possibly navigate through this troubled water with an old two-party antiquated system. We need a third party that can calculate the pathway through the center, find common ground, and work with what we do agree on, because clearly the left and the right are in disagreement on almost everything. And I don't blame the Republicans for not wanting to embrace climate change issues simply because they don't want to have their tax dollars leached away by foreign governments. The Democrats want to roll over and give away all their tax, everything they can, including our sovereignty, to a new world order. So both parties are becoming almost useless. especially in supporting America and our clean environment, which is really at the center of this discussion, and not taxing people to clean the environment. So I will put together my plan officially. I'm working on a video to establish a clear pathway to cleaning the environment in America and maybe around the world without costing everybody tax dollars, which clearly that plan is falling, it's deadpan. It's not going anywhere. The global climate elitists are not making any progress, especially parading around innocent little girls that look like they're being exploited by some sort of a demon named George Soros. Yeah, so we'll sign off on that note. Anyway, thank you for coming in. We will see you later for another great show. Tomorrow is Saturday. We'll be doing the Sustainable Saturday show starting at 5 p.m. I'll be in the show tonight till approximately 1 a.m. when we shut down, and hopefully people back east will get some sleep before the sunrise. All right. We'll take a pause and start up again tomorrow. Take care. Get some sleep. Good night.
Great. If you see me, give me a wave. I love to see style.